We might. Thank you for everybody for being here tonight. As I think all of you know now, Matt won't be here tonight. Having some issues with his dad and mom, so families always comes first. And just please, I don't do this but once or twice a year, so but help me out, please.
Gotcha.
Mark, would you do our invocation tonight, please, sir?
Sure will. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that we've had and continue to have. We do ask that you guide us in our deliberations tonight. Help us to remember our purpose here and whose we are. We do ask that you look after our citizens, just to put a hedge of protection around them. And we ask you to look after our service members here and abroad. The world's still a crazy place. We also ask that you look after our service members once they return. Sometimes they wrestle with things that we don't see, and just help them to be strong and help their families to be strong and help us to be supportive of them in their times of need. And we ask for peace and grace in all the things that we do. In your name I pray. Amen.
In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, 1B, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, number 2, discussion and possible action items. Further discussion on the FY 2026-27 budget. David or
Thanks, sir. Council, we really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you tonight. Council members, we really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you tonight. You know, we've had several budget discussions already, and you know, the calendar has been adjusted a little bit with the transitions. Certainly appreciate your patience as we work to put the budget together. So the work sessions tonight and Thursday give us an opportunity to share some preliminary information with you. We provided some of the preliminary department requests earlier this week, and we've given you some additional, as well as we did the revenues previously as well. And so tonight we give you some adjusted numbers on some of the information that we provided previously, and we've given you the full package of the department request. We're not calling this a draft budget. This is preliminary revenue projections and department requests. The draft budget is in effect the the administrator's recommended budget and as required by statute. And so that will be presented on the 18th, but we certainly welcome the opportunity to share how we've gotten to this point with the draft projections and to receive comments and feedback from you as well. As you're aware, we've got the budget development calendar. We've got the budget presentation on the 18th. Will be opportunity, if you wish, to have additional work sessions after that to further refine the recommended budget as you take that and then make it your own, make it the council's budget and the town's budget. So this is an important step in the process, but we're not at the end, but hopefully we'll get to the end before June 30th. Again, tonight we've got some the preliminary department budget requests. All the department budget worksheets have been included. There are a few minor revenue adjustments, less than $5,000, but there's been some minor adjustments to the revenue. So please utilize this, and this information has been emailed to you as well, so you've got it electronically as well. So please use this version rather than the version that you had before. And then as I mentioned, as administrative budget officer, with this information, I will, and the feedback, I will work to prepare the recommended budget and have that ready for May 18th, the work session then. And on the same date that that is presented, one of the requirements for the statute is that we present it, have a copy available for review by the public, but also we'll put it on the website at that time as well. So, any questions, general comments before we dive into the department budgets? We've already talked about revenue. We did that before, but there's nothing major, just a little bit of tweaking. Another wasn't, it was kind of straightforward, I think, last time.
The only thing I'd like to remind folks is our top priority when we started this budget process was to reduce cost. So we need to sharpen our little red pencils and see where we can cut some cost. Okay. So that was just my general comment.
Yes, and I will say, just as a general comment as well along the same lines. So I do urge caution a little bit in that, there's still a lot that we don't know what's going to happen in the legislature. As you know, there's a legislative commission that's looking at property tax. They're looking at several different options on what they may do. There could be some limitations put on local governments as far as property taxes. And I mean, there are some states that have already taken, where their legislatures have already taken those actions. And they can be pretty impactful for future years. So just want to ask you to keep that in mind as well. And also that, we are, looking at retiring to our debt payments in the upcoming year. And so, there'll be, I think, good opportunity the following year, to potentially make some adjustments in consideration as well. But just wanted to ask you to keep those two things in mind as well.
As well as the grant funds
Right.
running out.
Yeah, so the grant,
Being spent.
so
Being spent.
we have made good use of the grant funds to date, with the park, and some of those expenses that we've been able to utilize the grant for, we're now, now the funds are close to being fully spent. Then some of the costs that might be some maintenance and other things that we will need to incur locally rather than having grant funds cover. So just a third thing to keep in mind as well. So, I know this is my first budget here, and of course, the lady to my right here plays a very key role in developing this, and she's got 10 years of experience. And so I certainly defer to her to help lead us in the conversation. But how do we want to proceed? Council and
Well, I had
Kim,
9 years prior to coming here.
but 10 years here.
Right, 10
Sure.
years. Sure.
Yeah.
How do y'all want to proceed, I guess, is, I'll explain to him how it's been done in the past. So it's totally up to y'all. The worksheets here in front of you have literally just been completed today. What you provided earlier in the week is what had been completed at that point. It's why you did not get the whole general fund at the time. It wasn't ready. So these are just hot off the press. As you can see, it's 523 at the top left-hand corner. We've got this pretty much a good draft to start with, a good recommended budget for him to present. So we're willing to go through it line by line. I don't know that we'll get all the departments tonight. It's totally up to you on how y'all want to proceed.
Let me ask you one quick question about
Okay.
the information we were previously emailed, that lacked, like the planning, zoning, and parks and rec, the first half, I guess, so to speak. And I saw where some additional details were added as
That's
far as
correct. The details
how,
were added.
how things were calculated, but did any of the numbers change from what we were previously given?
I don't think any of the numbers changed, but I can't swear to that because we've made some adjustments to some benefits and some salaries based on skill information that we're getting from our vendors.
So as I mentioned before, we would recommend you,
This one's a little bit more
Use-
detailed.
use
I
this one.
highly recommend looking at it. If it's changed, it wouldn't have changed considerably, let's
Okay.
just say that. Yeah.
And the reason I ask is I've got mine, comments electronic on a PDF, but it was the version that was emailed, so I didn't know if I needed to
Do you want
follow
to print it
along.
out?
No, that's
Here?
okay,
You want me to share it? Okay.
I
but,
mean, I think they would probably still be valid.
well, no, it was more just, did I need to look at both of them? As far as if my numbers on the PDF were different than this hard copy, I can keep going page by page with both versions versus just using the little computer.
Yeah, I think you probably want to
Okay.
look at both
I-
versions.
Yeah, I think you would.
Okay,
Because you may find some of the same stuff.
gotcha.
And if it doesn't, then we can offer detailed information as to why it would be a little different.
So, we start with page one, the governing body, and it's fairly consistent, I believe, with prior year. Kim?
Yes, but let me explain to the new council members, Davis and Eccles. I think you're familiar with worksheets, but I'm not so sure about you. So these worksheets are the government finance software that we use. It provides 5 years of data plus the projected one, okay? So when we go back and look at, we kind of look at what was budgeted for that year and then the actuals for that year. And then you can see how it's gone across the whole several years. If there's a big variance, you may have a question as to why. I don't know that I'll be able to answer that right then, but I can pull that line item for you and get that for you later. I just want you to understand we just don't throw these numbers out in the air.
But the salary is basically, the same as last year, and the other salary-related items are very similar. We do have the election expense.
Well, hold on, because that was one of my questions. There's not an election next year, so can we
Right.
not eliminate that $5,000?
There's one in November.
But I thought we only had to do it, pay for it when we had someone running. That if it's just
Well,
a
let's look at
state
the
or
prior years.
local.
As you can see, the prior years, there's something budgeted up in the first.
Well,
So we still keep that fund in there, y'all welcome to take that 5,000 out, I don't recommend so. For
I think one of the things that it's,
unexplained
you know,
things
it's,
that come up during the year.
it's just for consistency, you know, when you make adjustments year to year, I mean, there's some benefit to having just a consistent amount in a line item. But it, as Kim said, it can, you know, be a place where, you know, any unforeseen issues can be addressed as well.
Refresh my memory, was that a fee paid to the county?
It's paid to the Johnson County Board of Elections.
Oh, okay.
For the municipal elections.
Oh, okay.
They have to rent the building from the community center,
And
and
there,
then we get the bill
for the ballots
For that.
and everything, and the time for the election workers and stuff. So anytime there's a municipal election, the town has to incur that cost.
Oh, okay, yeah, I knew that the county paid us for the building because I used to be a chief judge,
for.
but I wasn't sure about
They pay
overage.
the community center.
The community center, yeah.
So, and there have been some towns, so the cost of election, municipal in the, you know, the odd years, the counties have it in the even years, towns often have it in the odd years. There have been some counties that have switched their election
Locations.
cycle to be consistent with the counties and the general elections for twofold. One, you get better turnout, you know, voter-wise, you get better voter participation in the general election. But also, when you have it with the general election, you split that cost. And so it's much reduced. So that may be something that, there's a process that you would have to go through, and I believe you might have to get the legislature involved. There are a number of towns that have done that. There were a lot in Craven County, Jones County, and that area that had done that. But if I recall correctly, their municipal elections went down like 80% by going into the general election. So again, you would have to adjust terms, and there'd be some, that's certainly something you could do in the future year. It's not something, there's not enough time to do it this year. But I've seen, several small towns where, there's only, where there's a very small population, and just the amount of cost it was per person that voted was just astronomical. Yeah.
Would there be a situation where there was a vacancy on council where there needed to be a special election?
It wouldn't occur.
They're
Only
appointed.
if,
Bill.
so I believe the situation with that, if there was a vacancy and there was more than 2 years left in the term, then there would be a special election
Right, that's
for the council could appoint somebody for, that first year, but then there'll be a special election for thereafter. But it'd still be on the same 2-year cycle.
so it worked.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it. Yeah. Gasoline in general, the gas prices have gone up. Council typically does not have as much gas expense, and so we have increased gas in other departments, but not in the governing body. And then the training and meetings, we've got 5,000 in that.
That was another one I would like to consider reducing, because if you look for the previous years, it's been 2,000. And the reason this one got increased was because we were doing all those special meetings to recruit a town administrator. Because I know that's where we had additional expense than we typically do. But, if you look, it's pretty much always been right at $2,000.
But, it does depend. I mean, sometimes there might be other individuals that have taken advantage of training, and, with 2 new members, that might be something that they may want to consider as well. So, that may be something you want to talk about as well. And then also with that too, under training, so one of the things that came up in the prior budget work sessions, if you recall, and with the prioritization for things in future years is cybersecurity. And so we've gotten some estimates for some cybersecurity training. And that's going to be not only for staff, but that will be for everybody that has a town email account. Because oftentimes, you know, the folks that try to do the phishing attempts, you know, they go to, you know, elected officials, and, you know, we got planning board members that have email too. So planning board, council, and staff would participate in that training, and so we have spread that cost across departments, and so that's why you'll see under training that know before is what would be that cybersecurity training, and so there'd be a portion of that that would be attributed to governing body as well.
What was the quote that you all received? Is this the actual vendor, No B4?
Yes, yes.
What was their actual quote?
I believe in total, and that includes all the council, all the planning board, all staff with emails. I believe the total was around 800, 900, somewhere in between there for the year.
And so what they'll do, oftentimes they'll send, you know, test emails to everybody just to see if you might click on something. I mean, there will be a certain amount of training that everybody will have to do, but there will also be some preventive stuff so that if you, if somebody clicks on a link that is a, you know, potential phishing type scenario, then they may have to do some additional training as well.
Yeah, and what it would be is, if we were to take it on board, there would be additional training for everyone. And then once a month, I'll have a platform where I can target you all.
The test emails.
But what it would probably be is just once a month for everyone across the board. And then it gives me a report that says who failed, and then we can assign a training to that person. But I want to say it's between 800 and 900.
You're right,
Okay.
it's showing 858, that's through our IT vendor.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis, do y'all do that in Raleigh? Have something, so, yeah.
Would any council members object just putting it at 3,000 for that? Because we've got 5,000
Same thing.
I'm
that we're not
fine
going to use
with
for elections, so we've got a buffer in there.
You writing these notes down?
Shall. And then the annual events, the shred event in the fall. I know you've got reference to food truck too.
Is that,
No food truck.
does that include the community center events, or is that different?
The shred event that we had at the park, we do that twice a year.
But the, I'm sorry, the food truck, is that part of the shred event?
I think, was that a reference to a prior
The
year?
food truck was part of the shred event that we had here.
Okay.
Actually, we did it the first year at the park too, but there was two. There was a breakfast one and then there was a lunch one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That we paid for?
They did not, that's why.
We
I-
didn't,
No, we did not.
but it was just,
They agreed to come and just make whatever they made out of food truck.
That was just labeled, it was just how it was
but it was
labeled.
just, it was that event.
So how much is the shred event then?
$800, 4 hours.
Oh, each, okay.
Yeah. That'd be two. It's all in spring.
So it says $4,000.
$4,000
That
was,
wasn't for, that's
Well,
this year's now.
Yeah,
And
so
it included a band, an outdoor entertainment band, but we didn't put that in here.
and a couple of years ago, we had considered doing like a concert and all that stuff, so that bumped up that price on that.
We did, well, I mean, we actually had one.
Oh, yeah,
They had
yeah, we
Veterans
did.
Day over at the community center.
so the 2026, that's the current year. That's where you see the 4,000. And then the next year's will be the 26, 27 year, so, but it's under the 27 column. So that 4,000 has been reduced to 1,600 for, in this draft projection.
We had 2 events this year shredded, but we weren't charged for the first one because they had truck issues and only were able to get here for half the time.
Oh, nice. Nice that we weren't charged the full amount.
And then annual planning session, you know, I think the retreats have been beneficial, but that price, you know, we've cut it from $1,000 to $500.
Yeah, we used to go off-site for the retreats, and doing it here is less expensive, so.
And then going to page 3, you've got contract services, and you've got the detail there.
I'd like to eliminate the Christmas float. I'm struggling to see the public purpose in a Christmas float.
We'll make a note of that, but keep in mind, he's not presented his budget yet. So some of these may come back up on May 18th, just saying, because this is just our worksheets right now. And so when he presents on May 18th, you'll be able to make any recommendations. Just, we're going to make note of these ideas that you have, because it ultimately is your budget that you adopt, and we know that. But he still has to do, by law, a recommended budget.
So we appreciate the individual, you know, comments. It's very helpful. But as you're aware, this is a work session, so, you know, the council's not taking any action as a unit at this time. And so, you know, we're taking comments under advisement. We're making notes. But then ultimately, the board makes a decision, you know, after the recommended budget's done. And, you know, and you can, I will take everything under consideration. We'll go from there.
I will say, I do agree, because nobody really gets on the budget.
Yeah.
They don't have time anymore, so.
Yeah, I was the only one.
If
Is that a count?
If we have a parade,
Council?
I'm never on the float because I'm helping organize the parade.
So I agree, it needs to come out, because it's staff that's been getting on there, and then Mr. Purvis would, throw his beans, but, typically, it's like pulling teeth to get people to be on the town float.
To keep in line with the timeline for this, I would like for our recommendations to match the budget requests that you present.
I certainly
close as
understand that.
possible.
I understand that, but again, a comment from one person is not direction from the entire board. So, you know,
I understand.
If there's general understanding, I will certainly be respectful and try to work within that.
Yeah. I think, well, on this particular thing, I think we most would agree.
Again, I understand, and I will certainly,
Got it.
I hear you loud and clear, and majority of folks have spoken, and so I certainly understand that. But if there's just one comment, you know, I can't necessarily take that as direction from the entire board.
Understood.
So it sounds like if we agree, everybody needs to speak up and say, yeah, I agree, or don't agree.
Yeah.
Because just for me, if that's how it's going to go, there's no point for us to have a work session until the
May
budget's
18th,
presented.
Until May 18th.
Yeah, because that's just how I feel.
I certainly want to be respectful of your time, but I certainly want to be respectful of your role as a board as well.
So let me ask you this. If you come back on May 18th with something that is different from what we're telling you, are you going to give us justification as to why?
Sure.
So what advertising are we doing for legal advertising?
So that, I mean, that will, you know, it could be a number of things. Typically, it's the public hearing notices, and like the notice for the budget.
Papers, stuff like that.
Yeah, the
Newspaper.
longer the notice, the more it costs. So for the comprehensive land use plan, it's a fairly short notice. I think that costs us about $90 to put out. But whenever we have a rezoning case where we have to put the parcel numbers and all that, it can cost a couple hundred.
Oh, okay.
So it really just depends on what we've got going on that year.
In the past, we're only required to run the budget message or the budget legal ad once, but we've run it twice.
Oh, okay.
And Kim, like, for like rezonings and stuff, does that come under that too, or is that separate under planning development?
Legal ads is,
Just,
I think it is under planning too.
Subscription.
Maybe it is all now. It's all under a governing body because it would be, it used to be under plan and zone, but it would be the governing body who is responsible for putting up a legal ad. So now it all appears under governing body.
so like the, you know, advertisement or comprehensive plan or anything like that?
Anything that goes in the Johnstone News. However, people don't take the paper much anymore. Unless they may get digital copies of their paper. That's why it's mandated, that law has not changed, it's mandated that we put it in newspapers. They haven't kept up with, people don't get newspapers anymore and making sure. So we do it extra by doing it on our social media and our websites and digital signs. It's not required by law,
But
but that's what we do.
The newspaper lobby is very strong, and so they've been able to
Hang on to it.
maintain the statutory requirements that we advertise in the newspaper.
Under dues and subscriptions, should the Amazon be 200 since it's $50 per department instead of 50?
There's 4 departments.
So it's $200 per year, 4 departments, $50 per department.
Right, so instead of 50, shouldn't it say 200? Or,
No, it's 200 divided by 4 departments.
So 50 is
So
going to
it'll
be
be
in
listed
planning and
different
zoning
places.
and parks and
oh, it's
rec.
listed different places, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions on that page?
Central Pines, what do they provide?
So Central Pines is council government. You know, there are certain things that come with the dues. You know, they provide information, they provide a certain number of services, and then there's additional services like with the manager recruitment that is separate. And so, you know, that was a separate contract above and beyond the basic level of service. But,
But what do they provide us
so
for the 2,700?
So there are, you know, various meetings that, you know, they have mayor's meetings, they have managers meetings, they have HR professional meetings. It's a good opportunity for professional development and growth and networking. Also, they assist with, you know, legislative issues. They you know,
Environmental.
provide newsletters and additional information about grants, different things like that. They have other things that, you know, they have a grocery list, or, you know, there's a number of things that we can opt into at additional cost. But, you know, the basic level of service that they provide, and, you know, we can get a presentation with them if you would like a little bit more information.
Sure.
about-
I'd like to do that,
Okay.
just probably later in the after budget season.
Yeah.
When we first became a town, we were depended on them pretty heavily because none of us knew what we were doing about anything. And they were a good bumper for us. you know.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good safety net. You know, there are certain things they, you know, they do have planning services that they can provide. If, you know, we're talking later on about potential strategic plan. They've put in a quote on that, that's separate. But, you know, they really are a convener for regional issues, and they help local governments come together on common ground, so find some efficiencies in different things. There have been other opportunities that, like for instance with HR, they're starting to do, or the last few years they've done some recruitment collectively amongst towns, so that you could have like a employee fair expo. You know, organization of our size, we haven't opted into that, but that was something that, you know, we could do as well. It's just a good general resource. Not duplicate the school government, and but they have some other expertise that they can bring to the table. They have other sources that you know, that counties can that automatically get into. That, I mean, the aging funds for counties come through the council of government, so that's a big benefit. But they're also the umbrella organization for Campo, the transportation organization as well. Now, we have separate dues for Campo, but we'll be glad to provide some additional information.
I will say, a lot of the towns in Johnston County are members of it, and probably Wake as well, because it started out as Triangle J, which included Raleigh and Cary, and so they just
yeah.
rebranded the Central Pines a couple of years ago.
So, yeah, there were all local governments in North Carolina have access to a council of governments. Not all opt in. There are membership dues, and it's generally based on a per capita amount. So there's 16 council of government across the state. So.
Even Mr. Wilson one time served as a board member. I mean, he was on the secretary, vice president. I mean, he was going, and he couldn't attend the meetings.
But again, it's, you know, there are opportunities where, you know, if you could attend meetings, you know, opportunity to, you know, network with, you know, other elected officials and you know, exchange ideas and, you know, learn from the experience of others as well.
I've got something about the Campo and the Triangle East and the whole 9 yards. I'd like to see us we got representatives go to these, and we're spending money to attend the meetings and all, and I'm one of them, but Johnson County, when I'm on, there's no cost to it. And I pay for my own gas, my own travel, whenever we do things, but I like to see a report. Most of the time, we only meet once every 2 months, unless it's a call meeting, and a lot of times there's not a lot to say because a lot of it is stuff you can't talk about.
Right.
You know, we know about land purchases and trying to do stuff way ahead of time, and you cannot mention that out loud. And that's tough for me. You can't talk with your wife or nobody else, but I do come in and I try to give a report on what we can talk about. But I'd like to see a report when every 2 months or whenever these people meet. I know we got representatives that go. Just let's hear something all along about what's going on from our people inside, you know?
I think some of them meet monthly.
Campo meets monthly. The thing, Campo's a great organization, but Archer Lodge is a little fish in an ocean full of really, really big fish. So most of what we talk about is...
Doesn't apply.
Yeah. And then, you know, there've been things, I think some safety summits and things like that, you know, I try to bring to y'all, but like I said, you can learn about NC 540. That's one of the big topics these days. So, but I can do whatever y'all prefer. If you still want to, you want to hear about what's going on in some of these bigger places.
Yeah, the Central Pine call that I attend is monthly, and it's more about environmental recycling. I mean, the umbrella is big for Central Pines. They cover a lot of different areas.
And not wanting to go too far down a tangent, but, you know, on the Campo, it's my understanding that, you know, Clayton, after the 2020 census, qualified, that could have been created its own transportation planning organization.
I think we were going to be part of that. It would be
Correct.
us and them, and
Correct.
the decision was made it wasn't worth it.
It was all three.
But
Okay, I forgot the
that
company.
will come up again after the next census, so that's evaluated every 10 years. So the situation may change, and, after 2030, there may be some benefit to, being, having a smaller organization, NPO, where you can have more voice rather than in a large campo.
But the one thing I think, if I recall correctly, it's still the same pot of money that Campo has. So it's not like a new revenue source. We would just have a much smaller budget than Campo. So I understand what you're saying, but it would operate slightly differently.
Well, it operates slightly differently, but you make your own priorities rather than being the priorities of Campo.
Yeah.
So it's an 80-20 match. So, they would have to come up with that 20% collectively. But there's also opportunity to, go after grants, and other funding sources. And you will have a larger, more impactful voice at a table. So just something to consider down the road.
Yep.
Going to page 4, small equipment and furnishings. The mayor's computer was changed out this year, correct, Kim?
Well, it's on order, it
It's on-
hasn't come in.
Hasn't come yet, but, so that's, so no computer replacements, that number's going down in this preliminary number. Any other questions, comments about governing body? All right, moving on to administration, page 5. Got salaries, fairly straightforward there. Overtime, Kim?
It's, like I had mentioned earlier, in an earlier meeting, you'll start seeing, funds coming out of that particular line item because the people that can earn overtime pay are getting paid out for that now instead of, earning their comp time, because it's got to show up on the W-2s. So that overtime, is starting to come in because, of course, it's the busy season, but they were given extra duties last year to handle the yards here, and so it's just taking some extra time for them. And like the number of people in Parks and Rec, which we talked about the staff in there too already.
Will this be like line item detailed under salaries? This is just one lump sum. Will it list like individual positions and,
Our salaries are put acknowledged on the JOCO report. And then it tells you here, like, for instance, TA stands for town administrator. Y'all know what you hired him at. And then if he's eligible for up to, the budget includes up to 2% merit for all the employees or full-time employees. And then if he's due the longevity based on the personnel policy. The others that don't have a contract, it's their salary, and it includes a 2.4%, which is the CPI that was come out in March. That CPI figure now is 3.3%, but David chose to keep the 2.4% in here based on the CPI level at the March conversation, or March detailed information off the website.
So all the salary, what we've got in here currently is 2.4% COLA and up to 2% merit.
And then I know that the previous few years, we've not given a COLA, which I agree with. I struggle with a COLA. So if we wanted the merit maybe to go a little higher, but I'd like to get rid of COLA.
Yeah, I was just asking, we're doing both?
What did they do last year?
We did not have COLA at all.
We did a 2% market adjustment last year. It starts, the market adjustments start July 1st, and then if you're due any merit, you get it at the first of the year, January, because all the performance reviews are done in the fall.
But the only reason that adjustment was done, that was the only year we did an adjustment, was because the 401K was reduced. So it was done, an adjustment to offset that reduction.
I hear what you're saying, Councilman Bruton, but state employees are actually getting a nice COLA this year, and the retirees, according to Governor Stein's budget. COLA is a cost of living adjustment, and if you look at the inflation rate over the last year, like I just told you, from 1 month from March to April, it jumped from 2.4 to 3.3%. You've got to be able to keep up with the price of eggs, gas, milk. It's not, I mean, how far do you really think 2% goes in the annual salary? So you've got to look at the cost of doing business and living in your household. And that's what a lot of your entities do.
And what I said was, I didn't agree with the COLA. I didn't mind if the merit were increased, but I just don't like a COLA personally,
Even though you get it yourself.
as a retiree. I never got it as a state employee at
I just
DOT.
don't understand your
I mean,
mindset.
my retirement, I don't have any options. It is what it is. So I think there's a difference for a retiree getting
Right.
COLA than an active employee.
Okay, well, we're providing information based on what other towns, counties, state employees do throughout the state.
The state hasn't even passed the budget.
Yeah.
So we don't know what they're going to get, unfortunately.
Right.
Salaries, part-time, we've got that going down a little bit, Kim.
Just a little bit, yeah. We've got the executive assistant and the HRA duty here. It is split from departments, so, the executive administrator, or, no, it's called executive assistant, is 50 out of admin and 35 out of planning and zoning, and 15 out of parks and rec. HR, is part-time, that is 70 out of admin, 15 and 15.
What, I know is it executive assistant, what's the second EA?
That is actually Joyce's EA, because Lindsay only works 3 days. And so Joyce comes in on Tuesdays. Lindsay's hours are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 hours a day, and then Joyce comes in on Tuesday, 6 hours a day.
So, and they provide support to all departments. And that's why, you know, their salaries split. And so even between the two of them, we're talking up to 24 hours.
We're heavy, I mentioned this the last time, we're heavy on some of these positions that seem to be redundant. Can some of these tasks not be rolled into one position?
So again, so the executive assistant, you know, that's 2 people, but they're not working on the same day. So you got one person working 3 days, 9 to 6. You got another person.
Right, we heard that.
So we're saving money by having 2 part-timers at 24 hours rather than a full-time person at 40 hours where you got to pay for benefits and everything else on top of that.
So what happened, when Joyce retired, that position was deputy clerk. She did the duties of deputy clerk and all the duties that this EA position, excuse me. Oh, okay.
Yeah, keep going, yeah, I'm looking for something.
Okay, that's fine. The deputy clerk did planning board and all clerk duties. She also assisted with the draft minutes for regular council board meetings and work sessions.
Till they got caught up?
As well as all the EA duties. When she retired, those roles was split. In other words, the EA position took the clerk off of the deputy clerk, and so that rolled into the EA position. And then all the duties that the deputy clerk was doing rolled into the town clerk position, which now Ben has just the town clerk duties.
So again, it's not duplication in my opinion per se, it's more, you know, we get full coverage on each of the 4 workdays by having it split between, you know, 2 part-time employees.
Okay, well, maybe it's just me.
No, I understand where you're coming from, Frankie.
I know that the job descriptions were given out at the last meeting that shows what one of them does. One of them concentrates more on the finance, the other one concentrates more in planning and zoning when they're here. And then, like I said, he's doing all the meetings now and all the minutes for every meeting.
So they're an assistant for you? They're helping you in finance?
They're helping, yeah.
Some, yeah.
And they're helping me, they're helping planning, they're helping, you know, recreation.
HR.
They're helping all of us.
They're
I ain't
secretarial.
saying anything.
Pardon?
Oh, I was waiting for her to like, yes, they help me too. I don't know, I just still
It's a
feel like.
secretarial type. They do filing and it's secretarial stuff, letters and mailing. They go to the bank, they go to the post office.
They do ordering for office supplies, they work on the website, I mean, they're the main ones that are,
Social media. that's
do the
their
social media and
jobs.
website.
Lindsay does the website
Yes,
stuff, right?
and she's expecting, so, she's probably gonna be turning in her notice pretty soon.
Oh,
But, so one of the other benefits is, you know, having 2 people, you know, so if one is sick or on vacation, then sometimes the other can help, you know, pick up that. So it's nice having that ability, you know, when one goes on vacation for 2 weeks, you know, we get a little bit of coverage, you know, sometimes with the others.
congrats to Lindsay, even though she's not here.
tell her.
That sounds like something we might need to address then, if she's going to be going out in the fall. This budget is for the fall. So
I
are we,
don't think they know that for sure. That's not.
Yeah, we don't
Well, it's
know.
still the position. Yeah,
It's the position,
still
not the person.
position.
The budget is for the position.
Yeah, who answers the phone and is at the front window when people come to the door. As well. That's the first face you see. 6 hours a day.
Going back to the overtime, so we're not doing comp time anymore since you,
That is on the non-exempt employees. Comp time continues for exempt,
okay.
yes.
Did,
But that's hour for hour. for exempt.
was that changed in the policy, in the employee manual? Has that been changed yet?
Those are things that are going to be addressed when you contracted with the MAPS group. That we actually have a meeting with her on Monday.
Okay.
She's coming in to start those conversations.
All right.
A lot of this is going to have to do with President Trump's, when he, addressed overtime pays is not taxed. So a lot of consideration is have to be given for things that, changes that take place that we have no control over.
the meeting with the MAPS group is here Monday?
Yes.
What time?
She's coming, is it 1:30?
It's just a kickoff meeting
Yes.
to begin the discussion, to identify what are some of the issues, and but I can't remember the time.
I think it's 1:30.
1:30?
Yeah,
Okay.
but she is physically coming here to town hall Monday. To review what our current is and start the conversations about what our proposals are, or what you contracted with her to do. She's going to start her work.
All right, moving on, page 6, under administration. So we've got the medical, dental, vision. We have updated those to the best of our abilities. We're still waiting on some numbers, so we've done projections for the time being on certain, certain of the benefits. So, Ms. Cynthia, you have anything else you want to add on that, or Kim?
No, Kim and I, up until 6/29, we were working on the actual Excel spreadsheets to give information and provide information as in regards to what the proposed, because a lot of information has not come in from our vendors. Although the vendors are well aware that we work on a fiscal year budget, with the exception of the state health insurance plan, which is on a calendar year. For whatever reason, there is always a delay. They will give us some estimates, but 50% of the figures have not come in yet, unfortunately. We are hopeful that on our next meeting, we will have them, but unfortunately, that does not happen. And that's something we have very little control over.
Now, I do know the state health plan, like she says, on calendar year, so that board won't even vote until August or September for their new January rates. So what you're gonna have in here is just a good estimate for the last 6 months of our fiscal year, because we don't really know what that's gonna be.
Then we've got the 401K at 6%. The employee assistance program on the next page, that's something that we get a real good deal on. And there's some valuable resources that are available that we're learning more and more about. So great resources for the employees at a very minimal cost, $100. And then the professional fees, auditors. Is that exclusively auditors? Kim? Yeah. Okay.
Do we feel comfortable with that cost going down $7,000 from this year?
That 7,000 was really 10,000, it was Central Pines' contract.
Okay, so it wasn't just the
Yeah.
auditors, okay.
This coming year is only the part,
Auditors,
but it would,
okay.
yeah, had the other thing in it, yeah.
Unless we need their help for something else. Right? Central Pines. If we needed any other contractor, third-party contractors.
Well, we're looking at some other third-party contracts in other departments as well. So it might be some in, planning, for instance. It's not exclusively in administration. And then the codification, that's a standard annual fee, and then the online hosting there. Trainings and meetings. It's gone down in prior years, holding constant at 5 for now. Didn't have as much training and meetings this year because of the transition, but anticipate using a little bit more of that next year.
Yeah, that one was one that went up because the version we had originally was 4,000. The version that we initially received, it was at 4,000, and y'all upped it by 1,000. I'd kind of like it to go back to the original 4,000.
Which one?
The
Training
training and
and
meetings on what we received through the email only had 4,000 for training and meetings, but the newer version has upped it to 5,000.
Yeah, if you're looking at average, yeah, I agree. That can be for,
I'm okay with doing 4.
Yeah.
Postage, we got, going up a little bit. Social media going down a little bit.
Or do we have any duplication of, on the hosting stuff, the what, for like the social media? 'Cause there's like, what was the other? But some of the stuff I see that we're doing for like minutes and all that has like social media stuff on it, options sometimes. So are there like multiple different platforms that we're paying for that could do stuff that are like, that could do both things that you know of?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head for
Like some programs, you know, they'll all do social media,
Right.
but, and we're just going one because this one does this one and this one does this.
honestly, to my knowledge, no. We do all of our posting, like Lindsay does that, and if she's not here, you know, I'll do it. But let's see, the archiving is public record stuff. We have to archive that, yeah. But to my knowledge, I don't think any of the, at least minutes software that I use doesn't, no overlap.
Okay.
We don't pay for anything with Facebook or Instagram or X or what's the other one?
There's a million of,
I'm just thinking of the 4 I think I see on our website. But we don't pay anything to put anything. We just have an account and then they post it or they'll share something, using the town's account.
We got contract services going down, Kim, a little bit. Then we got the contract services software going up a little bit.
Well, I saw that Sonic Wall was added from last year. What is that?
It's, I think well, I'm not in the IT, but this is our light wire. It's there, to keep the phishing attempts, something that's on the system that's back there.
The firewall.
It's like a virus protector kind of thing.
Kind of like, what is it, malware bytes or whatever?
They would be, I can't explain that.
Well, I was just comparing it to
I
last year,
know.
and it had gotten added from what we were paying last year.
It may have been embedded in the price. I know sometimes we don't receive stuff because I believe it's that device right there that's on our IT stuff that prevents it from coming into our system. And, so we have to contact them and let them know that we're trying to receive X and it's blocking it. It could be a signal or something, but I don't know exactly what that is called and what it does. I don't know. I'm sure it's something about hacking.
You know, this is security.
Kim, going back to that vehicle maintenance, is $500 enough?
well, the maintenance is divided out among some of the departments, so it's not just $500, it's $500 in different places. I don't know what the total price is. Well, I guess I don't know what the total price is, but I know it's divided out among some of the other
That's
departments.
correct. So the administration is really responsible for the Jeep, so is planning and zoning. The 2 trucks, that's under Parks and Rec, so they're vehicle maintenance.
They're out of that, okay. That's what I was wondering. 'Cause I went and had my truck serviced the other day, and it was $218. But that's, Just divide it up. Okay, good deal. Thank you.
I mean, the Jeep's nice to have, we certainly use it, but we don't put a lot of miles on it. It's been well served and well used, but we should be able to maintain it for quite some time. And then the contract services, you know, we've had different softwares and stuff, Kim, Ben, as well with that.
Now, this one actually has a new, is why it has gone up. I'll let Ben, if you don't mind explaining what that's about.
I can speak to that. So what we currently use for minute and agenda software is called iCompass. Kim, do you know off the top of your head how long we've been using that?
A long
It's
time.
been a long time.
Probably since, what, 17 or 18?
So
Yeah, somewhere.
It's been a while. And you know, normally with these vendors, you sort of build up a good relationship. For iCompass, what I would say as the clerk, I use it every day. It's very outdated. When you look at other platforms, there's a bunch. There's Admins, EvoGov, Civic, which is what's in here, Granicus, several others. They're light years ahead, and they're much more user-friendly for the public to come onto your webpage and be able to easily find past minutes, past agendas. But beyond that, it'll actually save the town money in the long run. I know you see that figure, make sure I'm telling you the right number. I know you see that figure for year 1 and year 2, and you're probably thinking, that's a lot more than we're paying now. But so the first 2 years have onboarding fees split up. So instead of having all the onboarding fees in year 1, we were able to get a deal where it's split between year 1 and year 2. After that, it'll go back to the regular, I guess, base fees, what I would call it. If you compare that to iCompass, it's actually cheaper than iCompass. You just won't realize it for 5 or 6 years, because both iCompass and Civic and most platforms, there's a 5% increase each year with renewal. And so I may not have explained that great, but any questions on that? I can certainly speak to the value of it some more if you'd like.
So during the transition, we've got costs from both, but ultimately, we're going to be going with Civic Plus.
Right. So the plan, the ideal plan would be continue with iCompass because we can't do a partial term with them. We have to do a 1-year term.
We inquired to see if we
Yes,
could just do it a 3 or 6 month.
I did my best to try and save the town as much money as we could because I understand these are expensive softwares. The intention was maybe we could have iCompass do a 3-month term. That way, July 1st, we could bring on Civic and then give them 3 months to onboard all of our documents and then say goodbye to iCompass and move forward with Civic. Well, we have to do a 1-year term with iCompass, and we can't have a gap in coverage from July 1st when our contract with iCompass would run up, and then the 3 to 4 months it would take Civic to get all of our documents over and have us ready to go on our website. So now the current plan would be continue with iCompass this year and then fully be ready to hit the ground with Civic in the spring. And it was more expensive, but I've kind of gone back and forth with Civic, and they were able to give us a 50% discount for this year. So that's the best explanation I can do. But if there's any questions, I can try and answer them.
So Civic will be ready in January?
January, I spoke to them this morning. It can honestly be ready October, November, yeah, because our contract technically starts with them July 1st if we were to adopt this, but they're kind of giving us a break and treating it as if we're only paying for half the year when we're really paying for a full year. I know it's a little more complicated than it needs to be. But it is much more user-friendly. It's better for staff as well. You can create workflows where, say David wants someone to work on a policy, he can assign it to someone in that system. Once they have a draft, they can upload it. David can check off on it or send it back for revisions with notes. They can send it back, he can check off on it, and then it'll come to me and I can add it to the agenda. So in the grand scheme of things, it's much more, there's a lot more bells and whistles for.
Better workflow potential.
But yeah, it's not just agenda and minutes, public facing, it's also internal.
Any other questions on the contracted services for software? Then you've got dues and subscriptions, reducing that from 5,700 to 2,600.
Is there any way we can reduce the number of those organizations? Maybe, say, one per discipline?
You want me to speak? That is a good question. But I will say, for clerk's instances, he's trying to get his IIMC clerk certification. So in order to receive that with that group, he has to be a member of the North Carolina Association for 2 years before he can even apply for his certification. So you've got to be a member of both in order to acquire that certification. And the same thing would be for the finance officer certification. I am not a finance officer, a certified, like a CPA, I am not a CPA or certified finance officer. But in order to get that criteria, you have to be a part of both the national and the state. So that's why you see an international one or a national name and then the state chapter.
So you're currently pursuing that certification?
I would love to. It's kind of late in my career.
Oh,
But like, you know, for the managers, I mean, there's certainly benefits to being, you know, with the state association, but the ICMA brings a lot of resources to the table as well. And even, you know, Ben's taken advantage of some of the ICMA training as well.
But yeah, and I will say, being a member of these, when it comes time for conferences and training events, you get the member rate versus, just like with the league, if we weren't members of the league, it would cost you probably double to go to some of their training courses or conferences. But being a member, you get like half off of them typically.
what about the HR? There's a public sector HR and a North Carolina public sector. I mean,
That's the same in the public HR and the national one, and then there's a North Carolina chapter, the same thing.
but I guess what's the value with that one?
Being a
Have
member
it,
of the HR organization,
You stay up on current events pretty well.
well, I meant for both, because it sounds like one is North Carolina and one is national.
National.
One, a lot of them, just like the other ones, some are federal and others are state.
So a lot of times, you know, you'll get, you know, from your state associations, you'll get more up to speed on, you know, changes in the state legislature that it might be impactful. You're not going to get that from your national organization. The national is going to focus on, you know, federal legislation, you know, just like you've got the North Carolina League of Municipalities and the National Association of Cities.
but it's like when Jenny was here, she had 2 different certifications in HR. She had SHRM and she had another one, but because she was members of these, in order to get that, you got the same, it's the same scenario. Yeah, in order to get that type of certification in that field, you have to be a member of those.
To maintain that certification, do you have to maintain those memberships?
Yes, if you want to maintain your certification,
You have to maintain the memberships.
right.
But again, we reduced this line item from 5,700 to 2,600. Any other questions on that? Moving on to page 12. equipment lease, the copier, I think that's pretty straightforward, right, Kim? Insurance, property and liability, let's see, that's going up, Kim, is that,
That's because we're increasing the cyber coverage.
cyber coverage?
We don't currently have cyber coverage.
We do, but it's only the minimum.
I think it's $1 million is our current policy.
I think it's less than that.
No, we're
Because we
trying
got
to
a quote
increase it
for
to
$1
$1
million and $2 million.
That's right.
And so this one is for the $2 million, 5,400?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I don't know, where council, I'd like to keep it at $1 million. I don't see the reason for two.
Is the current one at $1 million, Kim?
It's 500,000.
It's 500,000.
Yeah, I don't, or we're just, I don't see the reason for 2 million for, we're a small town. If our accounts get hacked, I just don't see that happening. That would affect the business of this town. Like, if it was like a big government, like Wake County, Johnson County, there's multiple departments, there's multiple systems they have. We don't have that here.
It was, certainly one of the topics that came up in prior discussions with, with council, so we were trying to be responsive to what council
Yeah,
discussed.
I'm fine with a little more, but I don't think we
Leave a
really need that
million?
much.
Just remember, it's this time, day and time, people out there looking for money. And you see things happening everywhere. And these towns paying out $2 and $3 million, $4 million. I want to be careful that something don't happen over there at that park or out here or wherever that we're in charge of, or a wreck with one of our vehicles. You talking about $1 million going away from here in no time, if it's a bad wreck, pulling that trailer.
That's gonna be, that's different insurance.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
But, you are seeing more small towns being attacked through cyber events, because a lot of times the smaller jurisdictions are more vulnerable. So, but we can look at options.
Yeah.
Let me share with him what the option one at $1 million is $1,400 less.
Okay.
It's 4,000 versus 5,400.
So for another $1,400, you get another $1 million.
Million.
Kind of. We'll take it under consideration. Moving on, insurance, workers' comp, pretty straightforward. Small equipment and furnishings, went up a little bit on that. That's with the fireproof cabinet and a laptop.
Can we elaborate on the fireproof cabinet, please?
A smaller fireproof cabinet. So we still are looking to do a smaller fireproof cabinet for some personnel, correct, Kim?
Yes, that is and I think you actually gave us some information on, you did some investigating yourself
Mm-hmm.
on that. And so we looked at the possibilities of getting a 2-drawer versus a 4-drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what you see here.
The 2-drawer?
This is a 2-drawer, correct now?
Whatever we
Well-
fit, we don't see any other, we shouldn't need any computers, everybody's gotten the new computers.
Except for we got the one laptop.
But we could have a printer breakdown, the battery packs are on every computer we've had to replace. How many this year?
I have replaced this one
Five,
this
maybe?
week. Yeah.
So anyway, so that's just more than just a cabinet. I mean, it's any office equipment, electronics, any, furnishings that is needed by the administration.
But we have capital outlay for the file cabinet as a completely separate line item.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in there.
so,
And it said 4 drawer if
So I
you're
think-
looking at it.
I
okay,
think
that's
this-
an oversight on my part. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
so is the
That's
capital
coming off.
outlay 6,000 is going away?
Okay.
That's correct. It's coming on.
Okay, because that, and I guess my question to follow up on Michael is, I know the last budget amendment, we did, added an expense for scanning in documents.
That's correct. We're still working on that. We got a proposal, and that was just for the actual scanning of the boxes, which is minimum. The proposal's come in, and it's over 20-something thousand. So now a decision's got to be made by staff whether or not we're going to scan and go to the PDF, which is what they would do, provide a flash drive, I guess, of the
Yes.
scanned documents. Or you can go to their platform and have it for 3 years, and up to 3 users can access it, which that runs just like the software. It's all annual fees. And that just came in last week. So that is not included in here, I don't think. I'm not sure.
Well, I guess really, my question is more, if we're scanning these documents, do we still need the file cabinet at all? If those documents are being scanned?
You still gonna have to maintain, because they're gonna come and collect these files to scan. Maybe, once they do the initial, they may come once a year, because we will probably not have a need for them to come on a regular basis, maybe on an annual basis. So you still need to keep your files in a
Secure.
fireproof, waterproof cabinet for that period of time. And if I recall, Councilman Davis, you came in and you saw the current situation that we have now, which is not in compliance, for one thing. And so the decision, we were discussing, do we leave that cabinet where it is? Because there is reasons to have it there, because there's planning, there's finance that has documents that needs to be maintained in a fireproof cabinet. And so because of the scanning, we discussed getting possibly a 2-drawer to be held in the HR office. We are still going to have another way to file the SBI, FPI background investigations results. Because the standard SBI says we cannot maintain them in the same file cabinet as we do our personnel files. The reason for that is because there's only certain people who are allowed to have access to them, and they have to be approved by the SBI.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it is, when I tell you the regulations are, and so you can't even keep them in the same cabinet. So my suggestion is that we have, a separate file cabinet, obviously, for the personnel files that we're maintaining until they are collected. And then we have something that is smaller to maintain the background investigation results.
As well as you got all the volunteers from the Little League back in the day. A
Right.
whole legal file thing that's in the vault, that's not in the cabinet, it's just in a banker's box that's got background check information that's not in the lock and key.
And so I want to also speak to the need for the possibilities of them having a copy of the documents that have been scanned off-site for a minimum amount of time. Because it's been my experience that the scanning takes place by human beings. And there are times that I found in my past experiences that for whatever reason, something didn't scan well, only half of the page scanned, something is missing. When that happens, and you know it, because especially if if the pages are numbered, you contact them. They go back through their boxes they find that document, and they have to rescan it, and they have to re-upload it. So there is good reason to have them maintain it, if not but for a year. But usually it's longer than a year that you maintain it, because a lot of times, because a lot of your files are gonna be former employees that you still have to maintain files for. How often are you going to get a request for a record from a former employee? But that does happen. And so, human error will cause me to have them keep your records off-site. And then once that period is over, you determine what's gonna happen. They either shred them and destroy them, or they send them back to you. But why would you want them back? Because that's the whole intent of having
Get them
them
off-site.
scanned. So there is a greater cost in the initial scanning, but in the long term, it is a money saver because you don't have to keep. Because think about it, if we're running out of space now for cabinets, imagine as time goes on, it's only gonna, we're gonna have a greater need for it. But those are your options. I understand at the cost. However, once you ever get into a scanning, I anticipate that this will get greater than your HR department. Your planning department and your finance department, I think, will follow. Because they send you the files, you look it up by whatever indexes you choose, you pull records up that way, and you will have minimal costs going forward in the initial department. But as you add departments on, you will then have, the greater initial costs because you're asking them to maintain it off-site. And, they're paying for storage, or they have a building that's just for storage, so of course they're,
Data
charging for it.
And what we're hearing a bunch of now?
Yeah,
Data centers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So that's what it would be, so.
Just like Ben mentioned, the initial cost of anything is always gonna be your greatest expense.
So on page 12, since the fire cabinet is coming off, does that mean that 6,000 can go down?
No, actually, what
Small
Councilmember
equipment.
Bruton brought to my attention is that it's under another line item.
On page
So the item
13.
on
Next
page
page,
13 will come completely off.
So that 6 will go 0.
Oh, okay.
So I don't mean to get off topic a little bit, but going back to the record retention, do we not have a policy, does the town not have a policy on how long they're going to keep their records?
I can speak,
Personnel records?
I
and-
can speak to that.
Okay.
So as town clerk, statutorily, I'm the keeper of the records. So back in, I want to say October, council adopted, it's called the Records Retention Schedule. It's from the state. We adopted both a general and a programmatic one. General covers administration. Programmatic covers your different departments like Parks and Rec, Planning and Zoning. How long are you keeping attendance from programs? That is pretty menial stuff. And if you all remember, I think it took us 3 or 4 meetings to get that adopted. When that was adopted, the council at the time said, okay, we'll adopt it, but you all are not allowed to destroy any documents because there were concerns that staff would get rid of meeting recordings. That was one of the things that came up. And so it's something David and I have been talking about, trying to figure out how do we reach a conclusion on this, because there are some documents that we can certainly get rid of that have gone past their useful date.
But we were also waiting because we were going to do a specific Archer Lodge retention policy that got into some more details that would override what was in the state mandated retention policy. We haven't seen that draft.
Right, so that's what me and David have been talking about. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but,
Okay, we can get to it another time. I just wanted to.
okay, yeah. Just for y'all's information, it's something David and I are talking about.
Okay.
It's on our list. Obviously, there are other things that we're working on right now.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
But the budget a little higher priority.
Budget, coverage plan, number both of them.
Yeah.
All right.
14.
All right, so that takes us to the end of administration. So move on to tax collection fees. And, Kim, I believe that's pretty straightforward.
I try to make it, everybody can kind of follow how we derive at the $53,500 figure, but I'll be glad to take any questions. If not, then we'll go on to page 15, attorney fees. We're leaving that, the 20,000, I think, is the amended figure that we have currently. I think it didn't start out at that, I think it got amended to 20,000. So we just left it at 20,000, in that category. He does attend both the council and planning board meetings.
And the dangerous dog.
Yes, he helps with animal control, so.
But, you know, we certainly work together to try to administer, you know, his services as efficiently as possible. And that's why, you know, he's not here tonight. He hasn't attended budget work sessions. So, you know, trying to be as efficient as we can and save some money when we can.
Page 16.
Yes.
That's just personal property on the copier. And then, there's a little bit of expense on the copier. It's just one time a year we get a bill for it. It's a lease, anything that you lease is just like personal property taxes that you pay. And then with the new John Deere lease, there'll be, personal property taxes on that too, once a year.
Page 17, public buildings.
I would like to consider reducing the professional fees. It's 10,000. The most we've ever spent is 5,500, and I don't know of any projects we have planned where we need professional services, do we? I mean, because I know that's been more like Susan Hatchell, well, not, she would be, I guess, with
Or
the
any
Parks and Rec, but,
Any engineering
Yeah.
firm like such.
but that seems excessive to me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Can you think
We didn't
of
use any
anything
last
next
year.
I mean, I,
With
that
so
would
far this
require-
year.
I mean, besides the let's see, the continuation of the encumbered Parks and Rec stuff, that comes under grant, or?
I mean, maybe there might be some design upcoming in the parks that's not gonna be covered by grants, but at this moment, I can't.
Well, the one thing that we talked about is with the crosswalk. If we pursue the grant for the DOT crosswalk, we're gonna have to have a little bit of design to get our current walkway to the right of way. And because DOT will not do a
And we're talking
crosswalk
about on Castleberry.
on Castleberry,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure about the disc golf, if we might have some design on that.
I think that guy was gonna do it,
Okay.
but now Jason's not here. I don't think he was charging for the design. on
Well,
this.
I think we're trying to confirm that.
Okay.
I don't know if we've got that confirmed or not.
But what it sounds like is that it probably could be cut now. I mean, just
Yeah.
to hear
Yeah.
the conversation.
I'm fine with 5 if y'all are.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wrote that 5.
All right, supplies, buildings, cut it 500 to 2,500. Solid waste, cut it 500 there. That's gonna be tight, but I think we can probably cut a little bit there, you know, or we have already cut there. Water sewer, 3,900, is that gonna be too tight, Kim?
I would go up just probably to 4, just because water probably, they may, if the drought continues, they may increase prices. I don't,
And you know, this
I think it's right.
figure, the actual figure is not through the end of the year
Yeah.
either, so.
Mhm.
We
I
might
think
need to go
that
to
might be a
4,500.
good- I think that might be a good thing.
Yeah, let's do 4,500 on that.
Just keep it at what we have for this
yeah,
year.
I'm fine with keeping that at
At
45.
4,500.
Yeah, just, I'm not saying it will, you know, I don't know, but
No, yeah,
It
but that's a
could.
good point. Mr. Raines. And of course, it's for the irrigation too. I mean, not our irrigation at the town park, because we have an irrigation pump
Mhm.
above ground that's in the grain bin. But
Yeah,
across the
here.
street, they have irrigation on their fields. So that, as well as their restrooms, and we pay for that too, so.
LP gas,
is that for this building?
pardon?
Is that for this building, the LP gas?
LP gas, no, that's,
Yes, it's got a tank, it's underground.
okay. But nothing for, community, center, they pay their own gas there.
I don't know. We don't get, we just get our, the Dean's bill. And it may be because it's inside their building, they would be using the gas. We
Right.
just maintain the outside.
Gotcha, yeah,
And the restroom, so we don't have any need to use
gotcha.
the gas, the natural, whatever.
And, you know, electric, I believe they're asking for a pretty substantial rate increase this year.
I'm willing, I'll keep it where we're at, and if we have to, we'll increase it later.
It's a staggered request and it may not pass. There's a lot of public outcry about that.
In communications, we've got some additional, service with the, west side parcel, is that right?
No, it's just all of phase 1 and phase 2 of the town park, extending the Wi-Fi to down at the pickleball courts and the,
So it's just phase two, it's not west side?
no, that's not, west side is gonna have to have its own designated line, just like this side did.
So do we already have Wi-Fi and internet at the park?
Yeah, there's signs that are posted at the pavilion.
Okay. And this is just to extend that down, you said to the,
To the phase 2 section, yes.
okay. When will the phase 2 when will the pickleball courts be done?
So the notice to proceed has moved forward. We expect, I believe, in the next 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Should
it's
go.
120 days, right?
Yeah.
You said it'll only take 100, once they start 100? That's what they're projected?
That's the contract,
Yeah.
it's 120 days,
Yeah.
right?
So we're looking at repeaters or are they actual doing work, like laying some lines or something?
They're laying
The 13,
lines,
oh.
and then, they'll do the Wi-Fi extenders, like we have one in here. But they'll be up on the big Musco poles, the light poles that are out there.
Oh, okay.
It's really high tech, but they can do a heat map of it and don't get me lying, but I've seen this little heat map thing. And so we're trying to keep the boundaries not to go beyond the tree line that's on Steeler Lane and just keep it, park related, and then not go as far as the next property that goes alongside the farm that's for sale, that butts up to our park. Anyway, they have to maintain and just make sure it stays within the boundaries of the park.
So is this going to be a year? Is this going to be an annual is this going to be 2,700, or, yeah, 2,700 a month from now on?
Yes. For the Wi-Fi, their IT, their
And installation?
sonic wall, or, the installation is gonna be coming out of the grants, that we currently have, that, it'll be paid for that to phase 2.
So does the 32, does that include the whole park or just the extension?
Phase 1 and 2. The great
So
big
they're not the
side of
whole
the
park.
park.
The whole park, okay, gotcha.
So phase one is like the ball field, the main area. Phase two is the multi-purpose field, pickleball courts and bathroom
And
facilities.
phase 3 is the west side across the street.
Do we have a usage on how much it's being used? Do we have
On the Wi-Fi,
yeah?
I don't know if we've got that data.
Because this is just a lot of money for Wi-Fi.
I agree. It is a lot of money. We do not have a downtown area. I know from Selma, they provide free Wi-Fi throughout their whole downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most used portion of the town. So it is a service that the town is providing to the citizens and other attendees of the park.
Do we know what the price would be if we don't extend it down to the pickleball courts right now? Just to keep what it is now?
What it is now, yeah, for phase one.
Or could we get that later?
Have that figure.
I'd just like to know the
I want to say
difference.
it's around 1,500 or 1,600.
But it's not just the pickleball courts, it's that multipurpose field too, where we anticipate, multiple, flag football. and
That's
other-
not got started yet. That will start in the fall.
Right.
Those fields are just we just got the lights installed and they're
But,
getting
but,
ready for
but
spring.
the Wi-Fi will cover that though. right?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. The
Yeah,
Wi-Fi will
that's-
cover that multipurpose field
Right,
too.
and that restroom facility too, that's got the shelter that people can sit under, as well as there'll be a shelter at the pickleball courts too, a shade shelter while they're waiting or whatever, because it's across the way.
I question it when
I
we
just-
first added it. I couldn't understand.
I just
the
can't see that
value.
right now.
Is there another provider? Did we get multiple quotes on that?
This is Lightwire is the IT people here. They do our service here at Town Hall.
And that's
So-
the 1,550 a month?
That includes the town park and here. That's Charter, Spectrum. They provide our IT, and if we have problems with, I don't know, help me.
I just don't understand why we're paying
Well, I
so
guess-
much.
Kim is it?
But we had to pay
Awful,
for
awful lot.
Spectrum to put in a
For
designated line in the park back 2 or 3 years ago.
So,
So I know-
I think we could, all good. So for me, I think we, just from a personal perspective, I get beat all about the head and neck about our budget. And, I think, to me, that one would be an easy one to do away with.
I can agree with that.
And I hear you, but sometimes I've heard you say too, Councilman Jackson, of having a library, a media center, and that is a media center without somebody going in there. They can sit in their car.
I got
and do
you.
media. I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, and I got you on that, and I think that, maybe at some point in the future, but
I'd like to strike it right now.
Well, I think you bring up a good point too, Mr. Davis did, that, we can certainly try to see if we can get some data on how much usage we have on our current Wi-Fi. I would hope that, Lightwire could provide some report on that.
Probably, and then also too, the Musco Vision, the cameras
Mm-hmm.
that are on the light poles at the main two fields,
Oh, they run on Wi-Fi too?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
But, yeah,
that's how people can.
yeah, a lot of people are using,
And we get
that
a
to
very
watch
small portion
games.
of those revenues. They're streamed. They can be streamed.
And we're making revenue off of that?
I get a very small portion from Musco Vision. I mentioned that on the revenues a couple of weeks ago. I think there's $100 in that.
whether it's grandparents or someone traveling, they can
They
watch
can,
their
yeah.
kids' games.
it would be easy if we can get the revenue to offset the expense, that'd be awesome, but I don't think we're gonna make that much
Well,
difference.
That would be the
There's a
base
lot
of
for
Parks
us.
and Rec anyway, right?
We will certainly do our due diligence and
Okay.
follow up on that.
But I will say there is not any Musco Vision cameras on the multi-purpose field lights.
All right, so I just one more question, or So they have not, we have not contracted to have a line run down to the multipurpose fields.
That has not been done yet. We're waiting for the quote.
Okay. But when that does come in, that will come out of the
Grant.
grant funds?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry.
Well, I have an idea of somewhat what it costs to have at least Spectrum run a good ways recently. So, and they do cut, they cover some of the expense, and you have to cover the rest, but it's not as much. But I can't see spending this right now, so.
Per month, right.
I can agree.
All right, let's move on. Contract services,
That actually went up $25,000 from the original version we got, because what we were emailed, it was a total of 20,000. And the very last item, 25,000 was added for town park, town hall, Veterans Memorial beautification, maintenance, and our replacement. What is that for?
That's what he mentioned earlier, that grant funds have been paying for, the maintenance and upkeep at the park with all the landscape that is required by our ordinance. We've had trees that's gone dead, we've had bushes that's gone dead. Mulch has been placed, now twice. I'm not sure how long the park's been open, but all that costs money. And so grants have been paying for that, all that upkeep. And so once they go away, those things are still gonna have to be maintained. And you've got to have funds to do that.
But the grant wasn't doing it for town hall and the Veterans Memorial, were they?
No, that would-
Well,
wouldn't take the grants.
no, not grant money, but, we were using some of the contracted services to put mulch out here. And, the annual beautification, the flowers or whatever, I mean, they're not annuals, they're perennials. So, I mean, what you want to do, but the mulch has got to be done probably twice a year.
I'd like more information on that, and also for the $6,000 that's kind of a catch-all others for town park, town hall, et cetera. I mean, that's,
I would kind of like us to hold off on mulching twice a year, just once a year, beginning probably what baseball season, because that's where most of the mulch is up there around the, I don't think we really need it that much.
twice.
But I do agree they're going to need some, just the upkeep,
No.
but
Well,
I think they could get a little bit more information.
Well, like I said, it was just originally 20,000 and to jump
Yeah.
25,000
Okay.
with such
That's
a
because we
broad.
forgot, we talked about it in our meeting, that the maintenance that's been being paid out of the grants to provide all that service at all the town
This-
grounds and landscape has come out of grants, and that's about how much it's been costing.
This does not include grass cutting around here, does it?
No, that's all
Okay.
Parks and Rec people, with their 40-plus hours of overtime paying for that.
So the grant money will expire, and so in '27, this will be on Archer Lodge.
That's correct. You build it, they will come. And they'll cause some sleep. And you must maintain.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. That's a lot.
repairs and maintenance buildings, we cut that from 23 to 10. But we've had actual over 15 this year.
What happened? What did we spend 15 grand on?
I'm not able to provide that without being at my desk and being able to print out that line item so you could see like we did for contracted services a couple of weeks ago. So I'll be glad if you shoot me an email, I'll be glad to print that so you can see.
But we're not expecting a repeat of that
I
this
have,
coming year.
I have a feeling I know about some of this. Okay, so, the community center's restrooms were vandalized twice, the men's restroom. So one of the urinals has been replaced. Then I know there's something with the septic, but I don't think we ever pumped out that septic over there. I think they were going after that.
They did that.
But they had some vandalism to their mirrors and the men's restroom, and so that's on us to fix those over there. So a lot of that was the plumbing to have that repaired and the equipment. I mean, not a lot of the 15,000, but to make it go up like it did from the 8,800 before, we had it repairs that we incurred that we didn't have to do.
They got Wi-Fi, can you say?
They do.
They do, yeah.
I don't know if it's, the Wi-Fi at the community center, I don't remember if it's them that pay for it or if it's us that pays for it.
I'm sorry. I
The
didn't-
Wi-Fi at the community
It's
center?
theirs.
Okay,
We don't pay for that.
okay. Yeah, they've got it.
Then property liability. So we're adding to our list of property, correct, because of the new stuff in the park, is that right?
So this is just a good estimate. It may come in higher, it may come in lower. But, we got another facility, restroom facility that's going on. Y'all, they just submitted the renewals, yesterday.
Yesterday or
Actually, today.
Or-
Files, yesterday. Okay.
With the league.
What
to
is
get the
inland
final back
marine?
on those figures.
That's, what is inland marine?
Inland marine is, what I think now. It's your,
It's odd because I've
my
got my,
diamond ring, that's what
that's,
I'm
I was
saying.
gonna say, you wouldn't think that your
It's-
engagement
it's-
ring is covered under an inland marine policy.
But it is. It has nothing to do with
Really?
marine. It don't,
Okay.
it has nothing to do with water or marine.
Well, that's,
That's
okay.
just what it's
Yeah.
called, but my diamond.
Protects
is under
equipment.
that.
Yeah.
And I think it's precious something,
But,
whatever we have.
but
I
it's like tools and equipment and stuff.
Is that what it
Property,
goes?
movable
Okay.
property, tools, equipment, and products
Yeah, and
while in transit.
and that's what I think they told me is because it goes where you go, so it's not like somebody broke in your house. It's kind of, you're like a boat right around on the
Just
inlet.
dropped in
I
the
don't know,
water.
It's an odd definition.
Or the same.
Yeah.
Small equipment.
Then, small equipment and furnishings, $7,000 for that.
Which has increased. The town's been approached by the Friends of Johnston County Parks and Johnston County Recreation about providing AED, and it'll be a partnership. We put up 1,000, they put up 1,000, and so we thought we needed one at our own town park as well as the community center. So that's why there's two in here. We could just do one or not any at all, but that's what it's for.
If we do that, I'd like to reach out with the fire department so we can try to get the same one they have.
I think they're getting a deal.
They've already bought them. So what it is, they have a certain amount that they give out each, not give out because we're still paying 1,000. But they have a certain amount that they allocate for each month, which they call a cycle. So they've already been purchased. I'm not entirely sure what kind it is. I'm sure we could ask, but they do. There's a couple things that go along with it. They want us to notify emergency personnel in the area that we have an AED there. If something were to happen, they know that there's an AED they can go use. They also do a free training, so all staff, we could probably do it in conjunction with the community center. They'll come out and do a free training and show folks how to use an AED. It also, that 1,000 also pays for a cover, all-weather cover, kind of like that over there. So it's really a good deal. If you know the price of an AED, you know, buying it wholesale is pretty expensive. So,
No, I'm all for it. I think it's a good idea.
yeah, I'll look in though to see if there's any options or if this is
Okay.
just the one.
And then
Chris
the-
has been more, he's watching or listening to the meeting, so he's saying it doesn't have to be the same type, that the fire department, because I know Northside services this one, and that was one of my questions when he brought it up, is can we
Service
purchase it from Northside, the fire department, because that's why he knew the answer to your question, because he had already researched it. So, I don't know who the vendor is on that, yeah.
And then capital outlay, 25,000 for resurfacing, painting the parking lot here. If you look at it during the day, I mean, it's really, starting to deteriorate. Really could use a fresh coat of tar and some paint. We've got a great building here. We want the parking lot to look good, and we want to maintain it well as.
Did we get any quotes, competitive quotes?
Mike's working on the quotes right now.
So that's projection based,
Okay.
but we're working on.
Will we have those by your budget presentation?
Hopefully, the guy's actually coming out tomorrow to look at this one.
Okay.
He reached out to Jay and Daniels because they're the one that resurfaced, when we added the parking lot extension, they did that and then they resurfaced this, so, he got their vendor that did last time. And that's who he's reaching out. So I'm sure he'll probably try to get some other, but that's who, came recommended by Jay and Daniels.
And so according to this, the last time was in 2023. So this is only 3 years old,
Where are you saying 2023?
The last time we had an expenditure on it was in 2023.
2023.
Yeah, and I'd have to go back and look at 23 to see what that was.
Because I'm wondering how often, like, we only pave roads every,
This could have been for something
Yeah, that was
different.
that
It was
Yeah,
just
I
a
thought that
capital
was the parking
outlay.
lot.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's capital outlay just in general, this is not a specific line item to the
Correct,
parking lot.
yeah.
And then it can't be delayed a year. I know we talked about it last year, but
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
as you
it's-
say, you talked about it last year, it's already been delayed a year. I would certainly, my professional opinion recommendation would be to go ahead and pursue it.
yeah, because I looked at it coming in and didn't really notice anything, but I was talking too, so I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention.
I think looking at it during the day,
It's a priority.
it shows its age and deterioration.
I know, well, just because I live with him, but, he was over, Public Works in Selma for over 30-something years, and I know when we go places, he
That's one of
looks
the
at-
things he notices.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and I do the same.
Look
thing.
at the crocodile thing, I'm like, I'm looking for a crocodile, but he's talking about the way that the lines in the asphalt.
the cracks.
If they don't hurry up and do something with that, they're gonna be having potholes or, whatever. I mean, I hear it.
Preventive maintenance
So, yes.
is a good
So
investment.
so what I understand is that what we don't want to happen.
Out there.
Is to get this,
That start failing.
yes, whatever that thing's called. Yeah.
the
That
alligators.
gives.
That is excellent, yeah, good job.
I don't know. Or snake wood, or, I don't know what it calls it. It just got my attention.
The Veterans Memorial flag replacement is done quite regularly just to maintain that. We've got a great Memorial there. I mean,
And it was just pressure washed.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, professionally pressure washed. And Mike went out there this week, he could not believe the difference.
yeah. And I see, you know, I've got my office window. It's amazing how many people come by and.
Well, tell them
I
about the
appreciate
crowd
it.
today.
Oh, yeah, there was a photo shoot there that probably took a 2-hour photo shoot.
Well,
Could y'all, I don't know, just seeing what 24, there was, y'all spent 5,000, and then it falls off. What was for the, so the
There may have been
expense?
some repairs. I know that we've had to replace some lights that are in the ground.
yeah, we did.
And then the
I don't remember
flags.
when, but I remember we did.
They could have been a hurricane. But the flags don't last but so long, and there's summer flags and there's winter flags. They're expensive. But you don't just do one, you have to do all of those both at one time. But I'd have to go back if you want me to look at.
No,
that.
I
can tell you exactly what went on
I
there.
hate to put 4,000 and this year it's 5, or, I don't know. We can always do a budget amendment, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with the 4, just. Everybody else is?
And then building permits, just $2,000 for that. I'm not anticipating a lot with that. So that goes down from 5,000 this year. And so that brings us to the end of buildings and grounds. Page 21, video programming, just PEG Media Partners, as we discussed before, that's pass-through. We're getting the money from the state PEG funding through cable, and that passes through to.
That same, yeah, that figure's the same as the one on revenues.
In public safety. Supplies for animal control, training and meetings, animal control. And there might be a little bit more with that, I would assume. I know we haven't had as much this in past years, but with the Data Dog Board, there may be some training that we need for the board with that.
Well, what that was, and I can tell you, the person that had it before, the person that had it before, she was on the board with the North Carolina something, and so, she wanted to go to a conference, and we split the cost with Clayton to send her to the conference, and, so that is how we got a trainings and meeting. It's just in case that our animal control person has to go, then
That's
we
a
just
portion
kind of
of our
split with Clayton on that. And as you can tell, they haven't been anywhere lately.
And the contract services for fire department.
Does this include the cost share?
So, you know, we got adjusted numbers on cost share. The department, and county, when they went back to revise their budget, it, you know, went down. And, so this is maintenance of the 11.5 cents. So there's no additional, so, you know, as you can see, it went from $7.85 to $7.96. So the cost share, if the cost share, based on the original budget request, it would have been $50,000-$60,000 more than that. So we're in real good shape.
Well, it says it includes the Johnston County Fire Protection cost share portion.
Correct.
So is that a mistake? The number's right, or?
So the cost share, I mean, again, it's not a separate thing. The way the cost share, the way it impacts Archer Lodge, we have historically funded the fire department differently than other communities. So, you know.
It's part of our tax rate.
It's part of our tax rate, 11.5 cents.
Right.
Other towns may not have done, you know, funded the fire department at 11.5 cents. So they're
now having to do a
fluctuating.
cost share.
So, but again, the cost share, it was based on their preliminary budget, but they reduced their budget request through negotiations. between-
North side's budget.
North side's budget. So their budget is very similar. The current budget is similar to, you know, what it will be next year. So we're not seeing an increase in the cost share like we anticipated.
No, and it's not a separate figure. I was informed or felt as though that it was gonna be an additional amount to our 11.5 cents.
Right.
Is that what you've been understanding?
Yeah.
That's
Me
what-
too.
yeah.
You too?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
and-
that is not the case. The
Okay.
case is, we can either keep figuring it the way we've been figuring it, based on the 11.5 cents, which is what you should, the calculations, this is what's been done every year. Or, you can go with what Northside's fire budget says they're gonna get from the town, which if you look on page 23, because the county or whoever oversees their budget, they cut their budget. When they carried it to have it reviewed, they cut some things out of the budget. So that reduced the amount they were anticipating to come from the town. And so their figure in their spreadsheet shows $777,000. But our figure, based on what we get from the tax money, is 11.5 cents, and I've computed it to be $796,000.
So
why are we
we're
doing
suggesting, she and I talked about it, and we talked about maintaining it with our calculation rather than what we're being told from the county.
Well, and I know
We
if
feel
you
better
pre-
about our calculation.
That's an
Well, and
extra
even in previous
20,000.
years, we get this number like at the 11th hour
And-
because they're
and
busy.
this-
So are we still going to get an updated number
Yes.
closer to time to approve the
Then that was
budget?
understood,
And updated.
the county commissioners will still approve the fire tax rate.
Okay, but that's going to
That will
be,
still be a part of our tax rate.
but that will be all we're charged. It's not an.
That's right. It's
Correct.
no addition.
Correct, there's
So-
nothing additional.
So all that stuff that we were told about, it's going to be based on square miles and number of calls and,
Well, and
Hours.
they've got
Property
it figured
values.
in their spreadsheet that it was Northside's budget figure that goes in that spreadsheet, not our budget figure. But
Okay,
that's
so-
not the case for all the towns. That just happens to be our case because the fire district tax rate is included in our tax.
so we
Yeah,
really don't
30%.
have to decide if we're going to opt in or opt out
We're-
because
It's a moot point.
over us, okay.
It's a moot
Yeah,
point.
and I was just elated because I had another line
You're shaking
item
your
in
head.
the cost share
That's-
and I thought it was gonna be on.
Yeah, I thought it was going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
this plus an additional based on those four
I
factors
think,
of what it
I
was.
think what happened,
Based on, we
you
thought
know,
we were gonna have to pay
they
more.
had some initial projections and plans for equipment purchase, additional personnel. And I think based on the way some of the other communities received it, they tried to sharpen their pencil and make adjustments where they could to try to get it more cost effective for some of the other communities that were more drastically impacted. And so this is a very, I think what it ended up being is being a very streamlined, cost-efficient year. But, you know, one thought I had is, you know, again, I think they were trying to work it out this year, but, you know, there may be additional equipment needs in future years, so I want to use our numbers, that would be our recommendation. I trust our numbers the way we're doing it. I wouldn't want to decrease it. We've always been telling the community that we fund it at 11.5 cents, and my recommendation would be to maintain it at 11.5 cents based on our calculations.
Unless the board of commissioners increase it, then we.
Right.
Well, that's why I
So-
remember, we never
but-
could get the final budget
That's
because we were
right.
always waiting on that number.
And
That's
the county has really worked with some of the other communities that have, where it's more impactful. So there's several communities, Kinley, Micro, and not Four Oaks, it was, but there were 3 communities that they want to have a setup similar to Wilson's Mills, and they're going to be able to do that, not this coming fiscal year, but the following year. And then it was our understanding that the county is going to work with the community to make it happen for the interim, for that 1 year.
So last year, one of the things last year in our budget last year, we kept a half cent. Specifically, because that was my suggestion, to help us cover any extra cost.
That went into the public safety.
Right. So, but with the intent of it going towards the fire department.
For the
Do-
cost share, right?
Yeah, because we didn't know what the cost share stuff was going to look like, because we were told it was going to be an additional cost.
Well, and I think based on the original budgets, it would have been some additional costs that we would have incurred, but the budget request was decreased.
So I guess my question is can we decrease that 11.5%? Or, strange territory, so I don't know exactly what the right answer is on that. We're not having to pay extra, but we kept a half cent in case we did have to pay extra.
So the 11.5 cents was set by the Board of Commissioners.
I think what
So-
you're talking about, Mark, is that the 11.5 stayed the same, but when the county reduced their tax rate by 2.5 cents, we only reduced the Archer Lodge portion by 2 cents. So we.
Or maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, we
Okay.
didn't keep it from the fire tax. We raised the Archer Lodge portion 0.5 cent.
It was 16.5, and 2 cents goes to Park Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And then the operations for the town was 16.5. And the fire department was 11.5, which the 3 is 30 cents. So we wouldn't be able to do anything with 11.5 unless the Board of Commissioners, when they make their decision on what that's going to be for the county, that's when they will adjust that rate.
But the
So
Archer
then
Lodge,
that means that, the other are,
Yeah, because
That's- yeah.
that 11.5 is just a pass-through. We collect it and we give it
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
fire department. So, but we could reduce the Archer Lodge portion of the tax rate.
right. And
Yeah.
see, as I said, when I do revenues, this, what we've got in here is still at the 30 cents tax rate. I mean, that's what we currently have, and that's what this is all showing, based on a 30 cents tax rate. So, but that's, we don't know, that, I'm just letting you know, that's what's been computed so far.
And I would love to reduce that 30 cents.
Absolutely,
I think that we owe it to the residents to lower that 30 cents.
absolutely.
But that was good news
it was good news.
to hear
Yeah.
that information.
But, I think there's still some question about, what's going to happen in year 2 or 3.
Yeah, especially because now if they, I don't think they were getting an apparatus. I think he had put in for some new positions, they were cut.
Yeah.
So next year,
Well, what about land for new stations? Because I know that they were talking about trying to find one down there
They
along
did. They got
42.
land for the
They
new
got the
station.
land.
So-
That's paid for by
So
the
it is-
county. That wouldn't,
So that's not part of what we,
not
so
part
we
of
would
us.
Ain't
pay.
got nothing to do with that.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to make sure, that that was something separate from what
Yeah.
we would have to pay for.
So the
Okay.
way I understand it is, we wouldn't pay for the land. I think for the equipment, we'd pay a portion of it based on the portion of
there's
it.
some
Well, they're,
formula.
yeah, well, they're, so
For
the
lack
town
of-
is only
they've got a
part of their
formula for
fire district.
apparatus
They
and
exist
whatever.
outside of town.
The new fire department location would serve the entire district, not just a portion of it. So that would still be a pro rata share of the equipment for that one.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
Thanksgiving, right?
So there's gonna be 3 fire stations in Northside. And now how it's gonna be redrawn is, I have no idea, don't know anything about that, but, I don't know how it'll affect it. I hope it'll make some of ours go down, but I don't.
And to my knowledge, the fire chief said that, basically, they're just sitting on that property now. There's not been any word to start moving
Building.
with it, building. So. and
It's
like I
it's
said,
not
I think this
a
is
short-term plan, it's more
right.
long-term.
I think this is a year-to-year thing. with what he requests in his
Yeah,
budget,
yeah.
and then what's gonna happen with the county commissioners when they pick the fire tax rate.
I think they were doing what they had to do, felt like they had to do to make it work. And so.
Which
sell
we
it.
have a copy of their budget. He did bring that in. I've got it somewhere. So anybody wants to see it, I've got it. The fire department's budget.
All right. Then contract service animal control, we increased it last year, Kim, is that right? And, tend to maintain that, $1,000 a month.
Yeah, and actually, Jason's not here, but to my knowledge, we've not heard anything from Clayton about animal control. If you remember last year when we come, Clayton had met with Brian and Jason about the potential that they are getting an ETJ or getting more people. They're not sure that there are one animal control person that's gonna be able to handle Archer Lodge. They kind of put it in our ear, you might need to, because we were doing it based on the number of calls. And so it was suggested maybe, okay, well, let's pay them a little bit more because they never had increased their rates since I've been here, per call. And y'all know, in 10 years, you've not increased your rates on a call. So it was suggested that, let's send them $1,000 a month. That will help pay if they have to get another animal control, because it's less expensive to pay the Clayton $12,000 a year than for the town of Archer Lodge to get an animal control business of getting a full-time animal control person.
Well, and
And
a
a
place,
vehicle.
well, and a place to keep animals.
Exactly. So,
That'd be a
to my
huge-
knowledge, I think it has gone over well, haven't heard any negativism.
Yeah, I've had several conversations with the city manager, and animal control's not come up at all.
See,
Yeah, it'd be worthwhile to even up that versus getting into animal control.
Yeah, and we,
because,
Yeah. and, we've, had a real good relationship with Clayton. They helped us with the ball field lights, but we certainly showed our appreciation. We did, a breakfast for their electric staff, and that was well received. And so, just part, they want to be a good neighbor for us, and, we certainly want to show our appreciation for their cooperation and
they
collaboration.
specifically said they did not want anything monetary for those services.
Oh, wow.
We offer.
Yes.
And they politely decline.
And they called it a neighborly thing. So,
That's all nice.
we fed them.
I spoke
That's a
with,
blessing.
I spoke with Jody at the state town dinner.
The mayor.
The mayor of Clayton, and he's just glad that we got together.
Good.
Cause we've been doing some things to help each other out. And he's, people ask him about it, people ask us about it. But, how can we pay him $12,000 a year in a dang pickup. It would take 5 years to pay for a pickup with that, with dog boxes, and then you got to have all the other stuff, plus an employee.
I mean, you're talking six figures annually if we had to
Yeah,
start that.
to get started in that animal business.
Well, you can see over the last 4 years, not the one that we're currently in, but last 4 years, their rates have been 2,100, 4,400, for the whole year, 4,400, 5,200.
Does Johnson County have animal services?
They do.
They do, but then they dropped it on our lap and said, in what, 90
Yeah, 90
days?
days.
You better have, we're gonna stop, and you gotta get your own. And they did that to us, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, something like
No,
that.
we've never reached back out and talked to them.
We got a pretty good deal with Clayton, but I have not, in my 80 days here, no, I have not reached out to.
I'd like us to reach out, just make contact and see if they would be willing to provide services too, also.
I don't know. I don't trust them.
Well, I
Because of how they, well, maybe it's just because it's just bitter water for me, but they, when they told us that they were coming out here, they were coming out here and answering calls 200 times a year, and
To Archer Lodge?
200 days a year, I'm sorry, 200 days a year that they were coming out here, and they said, and they gave us no warning. There was nothing saying that this might be coming. They said 90 days from now, you're on your own.
Gosh.
And so for me, it's, I don't know, I don't want to deal with them on that,
Well,
me personally. It's
I
just a
went-
bitter,
I went to Smithfield, and the guy that was head of the animal control has passed away now. He ain't even here. But I made them go back, and I wanted a record of how many times they had been. And they averaged 2 to 3 calls a month.
but they told us
But they told
officially,
us 200
they were
when
coming
they
out here
sent the
200
thing.
days a year.
Wow.
And that's where, I'm like Mark, I don't trust them far as I can throw 'em.
Well, I called them when we were talking about ETJs, because I remember getting contradictory information of if we get an ETJ, kind of like you said, Clayton and their ETJ, is it the town that does animal control in the ETJ or the county? And they were super nice, but all they would say is the town would be responsible for animal control within the town. And so I said, so that means the county will be responsible within the ETJ. And I was told that's all I can tell you is the town would be responsible within the town limits, which kind of tells me they would not be responsible within the county and, or within the ETJ.
ETJ.
And
Well, let's reach out. Let's reach out and schedule a meeting. I'll go.
Schedule a meeting with the county?
We have the county and the animal control.
Do you know someone?
I'd like to just discuss some options down the road, what they're willing to provide.
I hear you. We got a good deal with Johnson County Sheriff's Department right now. And so reaching out to another Johnston County department, I'm not sure that it does.
I'd almost wait too, because Clayton has been so good, and it's a wonderful, wonderful deal. So I don't think we're going to get it cheaper, and it's working well. So I hear you, but maybe let's hold off a little while. But the thing with them not doing it within the ETJ worries me, because if Clayton's already stretched thin, and now, we increased the size by 2.5 times Archer Lodge, I can see then Clayton going,
Well, if we wait
Y'all
till
are
they come
doing-
and
y'all are
say,
doing
hey,
it.
I'm not doing it today, just like y'all said Johnson County did,
Yeah.
it's gonna be too late.
I think we've got a better working relationship with Clayton than we had with their animal control than we had with Johnston County's animal
Ms. Breeden, I'm sorry.
control. But
Time
again,
out.
I'm telling you, my personal opinion, it was a bitter pill kind of thing, and so I'm not a fan.
Ms. Breeden, I'm sorry, talking about ETJ, tell me, what,
I reached out to Johnston County Animal Control and told them the town of Archer Lodge is thinking about an ETJ. We don't currently have one.
right, and we would not need to provide animal control in ETJ.
But the county did not commit that they would provide it either.
But it's
That's
it's not our responsibility to provide ETJ, animal control in the ETJ. It is not our responsibility.
Okay, because Chad told us at one time that
And
we would
I
have to.
confirmed that with Chad. We've had that conversation because this is, came up. One, is a police power is something different than planning and zoning. ETJ is just planning and zoning. I had this specific conversation with Chad. He confirmed with me my interpretation that animal control is police power, not a planning and zoning. Planning and zoning would not, if the town chooses to do an ETJ, there is no obligation, we would have no authority. We couldn't do ETJ if we wanted to unless the county contracted with us. So there is.
So what would happen if the county says, I'm not doing it? Is that?
It's up to the county. They have to provide that service in non-municipal.
Okay, well, that's, like I said, I just remember we were told it one way, and then when I called them, and they're like, well, all I can tell you is, y'all do it within the town limits, and they would
ETJ
not
has
commit
nothing
to
to
it.
do with
Animal control.
So I think what she's trying to say is if the county were to be responsible for town,
No, what I was trying to say is, if the town is responsible for the ETJ animal control, and then Clayton is already stretched thin, and we're worried about them walking away from Archer Lodge the size it is now, and then we add another 2.5 times, that's when I can see
But we
Clayton
wouldn't
saying.
But we would not be
Yeah,
adding
yeah.
that. We would not be adding.
Yeah, but that's good to know, but like I said, when I called Clayton, I was like, there was still a big question mark.
So the police protection, are you saying we have an existing contract with
Okay, so, not with the current animal control officer. We had a female animal control
I'm
officer.
sorry, I'm on
2 times
the
before.
police protection, sorry. I went,
She's under law enforcement.
I
Yeah.
know, but I'm answering her question on, but say that one more time, and make sure I heard you right.
the contracted services police protection, is this an existing contract?
You want to talk about
Reimbursing.
that?
We do not have a contract with them. But, it's something that may come about. And that's the reason we've been talking about, we need to get prepared.
So just like previously with animal control, the county said you've got 90 days to do animal control. We could get this, the same thing for police protection. So that's why we're setting money aside in the public safety fund, so that if we have to provide that law enforcement, then we have some resources to help do that.
And this money, Frankie, won't be spent unless Clayton says we're no longer providing police protection. And then that money, we would get the revenue from.
Clayton?
The county.
Sure.
I'm sorry, from the Public Safety Reserve Fund. So it's not that we're collecting $360,000 in tax as part of this property taxes. Does that make sense?
It gets reappropriated. It's not,
Yeah, because I had looked it up before, and what I was reading is, we pay county taxes, and the sheriff department can't legally say we're not coming when I pay county taxes. If I call for law enforcement, they have to come.
That's on a personal level. The town does not pay any county taxes. The town, we're talking about the town, the entity, the town,
Correct.
not individual people.
So if any town, any resident in the town calls for law enforcement, they still have to come. I'm not referencing Archer Lodge, the entity. All of our residents pay county taxes. All of our residents get
And-
sheriff protection. They
And-
can't say, I'm not coming because y'all don't have a police force.
but there are the towns, other towns that have police force, I mean, they have.
That's their prerogative. And it costs millions of dollars to have a police department.
And that's what we're
Special
trying to
insurance,
prepare for.
vehicles, facilities, special retirement.
That's exactly right. And because the sheriff is our law enforcement right now, and until we are told differently, we're having to prepare our reserve fund in case we get that phone call.
But what I'm understanding her to say is, they can't do that as long as we pay county taxes.
Right.
That
That would actually be our choice if we decided to actually go into the business of having a police department.
Not,
Jackson?
not necessarily.
Not
there's-
necessarily because,
You have town ordinance, if you have a town ordinance, that's different than the county ordinance. The sheriff wouldn't enforce
yeah.
that ordinance.
And there's not only ordinances, but it's the level of staffing that you
Well, true.
want to have. I know other there are communities that have police departments and they choose to have that, so they'll have more people on patrol, more officers available. There's a certain level of service that the sheriff's office provides. there's only so many sheriff deputies that are available, you know, countywide at any one given time. There are other towns that don't have police force that provide, you know, that have a contract relationship with the sheriff's office to provide a higher level of staffing within the city. For instance, Knoxville does it. There are a number of towns in North Carolina that do that because they want that higher level of service, but they don't want a police department, so they contract with the sheriff's office for supplemental services within the town limits.
Okay, so do sheriffs, in the examples that you gave, are they making $97,000 a year? Contracted sheriffs?
That's two.
This says each, 97.5 each. Is that what a
That's-
contracted sheriff is making these days?
I don't know that
I can
information.
tell you, there are municipalities that contract certain police officers to do, and it's like a private duty. Okay? Private duty is extremely expensive because there are liabilities. It's not just the service, you're paying for the vehicle, you're paying for the equipment, you're paying for their time, you're paying for their liability insurance.
It's also including their benefits.
Benefits are, you know, add,
You have to, whatever the county offers these officers benefits, that would be reimbursing the county back for the benefits and their wages.
but benefits can be upwards of 40% of your total compensation.
Generally speaking, the sheriff's department is only required to serve papers. They don't do investigation, they don't have to do investigations, and that's why a lot of small municipalities contract with them. But their purpose is to serve papers there and do law enforcement within the county by themselves, but typically local governments are responsible for. And that's why a lot of local governments have taken on 1 to 2. I know in Nash County, there are certain towns that they police. There's 2 deputies that work that area 24 hours. And they get paid to do that.
Yeah, I'm not saying 100 grand, including salary
Are you seeing
benefits.
the benefits?
I'm saying it's not
If they
a,
make $50,000 or $60,000 a year, then you're getting benefits on top of that, their health insurance, their 401K, whatever.
Explain how that's being reappropriated to.
okay, but we don't have to dive into the details now because this is a,
Yeah, I think there needs to be
Free.
some more discussion.
yeah.
I guess the question
regarding
I
this.
have, since we're not paying the sheriff's department $360,000, where's the money going? Is it going to other
A fund?
funds?
not.
Is it sitting in a special fund?
The Public Safety Reserve Fund, that money's there.
Okay.
So
So
when this
today we
happens,
have
that
to make
money
a
will
fire-
transfer out.
Public Safety Department,
It's there.
we've got something to get it started.
All right.
And it,
And how many years have we been doing the 360?
oh,
2?
But it's not
Is this the-
360 every year that gets accumulated. There's, one doesn't get used.
You have a reserve fund, it's called the Public Safety Reserve Fund. I think there's somewhere over 500, little less than $600,000 in there right now.
Okay.
That the town, since they incorporated, they designated so much going into law enforcement every year.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So, that money, it's really any kind of public safety.
Mhm.
Okay? That's why it's called public safety. So, but, so anytime that the sheriff's department decides that it's time for the town of Archelaus, it doesn't even have to be the sheriff's department. It could be the county commissioner says Johnston County is no longer going to be law enforcement for Archelaus. They've got to get in the police business. We've got some reserve money that we can use at least for the first year to assist with
getting it
starting
started.
our own force. And then you're probably, then you're gonna have to keep it up, which
then comes,
Councilwoman
then we'll be
Echols
in
just said
tax.
how expensive having a force was, so you know what will happen to the tax rate at that point. So this money has not been spent. It is there when we get phone call.
Well, I'm just trying to understand, so on page 22, for contract services, we budgeted 796, right, for the fire department? If you're looking at 22,
I'm getting there. Okay?
so 796,000 was budgeted for the fire department, correct?
That's what we've got for the
That's fire
upcoming.
department.
Yeah, but
That's
that's,
the 11.5 cents.
that's what, but we're gonna give them that money, right? It's that seven,
That's what we're budgeting to come in from tax dollars.
yeah, and so we're also budgeting $360,000 for public safety.
It's a placeholder.
But we're
There's
budgeting,
nothing,
so that money's not coming in at all then?
Think of it like you need to get your roof replaced, and it's not in your household budget. So you go to the bank and get that money for that roof repair or replacement out of your savings account. So the Public Safety Reserve Fund is that savings account. So if we have this expense come up, we're going to go to the Public Safety Reserve Fund, transfer that money in, so that's where the revenue comes from.
For the first year.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. I do. I understand the concept.
Oh,
and-
okay,
and the
I
process.
couldn't tell if he
yeah, I'm not
was.
sure he.
The fire, the stuff for the fire department, it's kind
Separate.
of like the PEG, it's a pass-through.
Mm-hmm.
It's a separate, the folks in town would pay that tax one way or the other anyway, either to us directly, or through us to the fire department, or they would have paid it straight to the fire department. But when we first became a town, there's services that you have to require, or have to do, and one of the things that was an easy answer for us was the fire department, and they agreed to just do the pass-through. So, so that's where that is. For the public safety, that is a tax that we do.
Yeah, so that will be in the final budget, correct? So if we took out $360,000 from the budget, that would be money that was being taken out.
Yes, but we're not doing nothing with that money.
So it's in
It's
the
a
cap,
placeholder.
so it's in the capital reserves,
Yes, it's in the Public Safety Reserve Fund.
public safety reserve fund, excuse me.
And so if we have to spend that, I would do a transfer from the Public Safety Reserve Fund to the general fund to pay for this first year. And then that reduces what's in the reserve fund by $360,000, if that's what it ends up
But we
being.
can't use that public safety reserve fund for other things.
No, it's
It has to be
public
used for
safety.
public safety.
Right.
This is a lot. Can we reduce this since we have 600K in there already? Because we do want to reduce the authorized tax rate, and this will be,
This
To
right here
use
has nothing to do with,
Ms.
it's
Bruger's
just a
thing.
placeholder.
To use Ms.
But
Brooks'
you say it's a
consideration while
placeholder,
ago.
but it comes up, it's part of that 30 cents each year, correct?
No.
No.
It's not.
The revenue.
So it's not real then? Then we don't need to have it in the budget?
It is real as a,
yeah, it's still the taxpayers' money.
it's the taxpayers' money that has been accumulated over a number of years.
We don't collect that amount each year. We may collect $50,000, $70,000.
50, yeah.
That goes into the Public Safety Reserve Fund to get ready. But this expense will never occur unless the county says, we're not doing police protection anymore. And then the money that's going to pay for it comes out of that reserve fund. So it's, like I said, think of it like your savings account in the bank, that expense that you don't expect, that you have to go to the bank to get it, to pay for it.
Yeah, if they come to us tomorrow, May 1st, you got 90 days, you gotta have a police department. You wanna go borrow $1.5 million to start setting up? Or do you wanna take $700 and some thousand that we got started paying $50,000 a year to for many years? So it's,
So
and
you're
I
saying
wanna
50.
say something. When we first started as a town, And we had C.L. Gobble in here, and he was town manager at 2 or 3 places for years. He's retired, but he come helped us. And we can't think about tomorrow. Yesterday's gone, and you can't think about tomorrow. You gotta be looking at 10 years, 20 years, 30 years out. And that's what we've done. We bought this property for this park in 2018, and August 8th, it'll be paid for. Lock, stock, and barrel, $3.6 million. But when we bought that property, before we started developing,
Start saving.
we started making payments. And we had that land over half paid for when we broke ground. But that's how we've got where we are. And all I'm gonna say is, you look at our audits. We've been in the 89 to 99% range on every audit we've had ever since we become a town. And I can't help from remembering, right over there at that community center, the people, there was 200 people around. We got to become a town when Wendell and Clayton put that article in the paper. That's when we started. And we even had to leave some property out of the city limits that we probably shouldn't have at one time, but we had to have the ratio of people per acre of land to get it. And the fire department had already tried to do this a couple times, but we didn't have enough people. But as things started growing in from the sides, we're more populated on the outside than we are the inside. But when it grew into the point we had enough people, then it went through. And I'm telling you, the day we walked up there, the 9th of November of 2009, and that lady told us at the door when we got there that day to watch the vote count, your town, I'm looking forward to it. And Mike Gordon said, well, what do you mean? She said, you're the first town that's ever been here that never got a no vote on nothing, Senate or the House. Never a no vote. And I'm proud of that. And we're not going to keep sitting here talking about tomorrow. We got to be thinking 20, 30 years down the road. That's where we started at. And we can't, I understand this, but we just got to go. We got to make this thing happen. And we got to be thinking down the road.
Let me answer Councilmember Davis's. If you look on, in the revenue pages on page 53, you remember, me explaining like the PEG media money comes in from the Department of Revenue? It comes in at the revenue, and then that same figure is in the expenditures? Okay, on page 53, the very last one, it says transfer from Public Safety Reserve Fund. That's that $360,000. So if we get in we have to make that law enforcement transition. We're gonna bring that $360,000 from the Public Safety Reserve Fund, and this is showing it coming into the general fund. That starts with a 10. And so that, right there, will fund that expenditure of $360,000.
Okay.
So we've got
So it's a
more,
lot.
we've got more in the Public Safety Reserve Fund than 1 year. But
So last year, it was 340 that rolled in, 345 that rolled in, and then it was
That was
360.
what was, we budgeted that figure last year. This
Okay.
year, we've increased because of the cost of things, of what we anticipate. It could come in less than that.
it could come in more.
and we're going to come in more. But we have to estimate, because we don't reach out to the sheriff every year to say, okay, what would it cost to do this? So he gave us an original figure, and so we've been going off of that each year.
I think he updated it a couple years ago.
Was
It seems like somebody went, time flies, but it's been a couple years, I think, that we got an update from him.
Okay, yeah, oh, yeah, that was when Brian first started, that's when we went to see him.
So 3,
That's
4 years
right.
ago.
So y'all take his figure and we add to whatever we need to make to meet that figure for the following year.
I mean, we had a CPI increase, an annual increase based on inflation and stuff, and so based on his base amount, and then it's increased a little bit.
And this is all computed on the way he charges, the way the county charges the school system for having, the
That's all right.
resource officers in the school. They build the county schools this same scenario, so this is where we're getting it from.
And remind me, so what's the total amount roughly in the capital reserve, in the public safety reserve fund?
I'm gonna say between 500 and 600.
Approximately. And so there's more than 1 year. So
Gotcha.
that would help you give some funding for part of year 2 as well. And likewise with, it is public safety reserve fund, not just law enforcement. So if there was an overage in the upcoming year based on a cost share with the fire department more than 11.5 cents, that's where that extra would have come from, at least initially.
Okay.
And animal control may, we don't know what's going on. We hope, we don't know what's going on with that too. So it would do anything
With public
with
safety.
regard to public safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animal control, fire, law enforcement.
Thank you.
And you guys mentioned a 50K, what was that?
That
That
was
was
kind
how
of
much
the amount that we did
rolled over
collect
into it.
with the current tax rate to put into that public safety reserve fund to build it up to that $500,000.
Okay.
And so with
The
the,
current budget that we're in now, there was a transfer for that
Yeah.
extra into public safety. But we added to that figure at the budget amendment. I
So,
think,
and-
maybe I
and-
tried to, we didn't.
One of the drafts we tried to, but it was
Okay,
taken
they
out.
took it out, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But-
So
but
anyway,
it-
there was some amount put in there at the original budget adoption.
But it might behoove council as we move forward to add, when there's a little bit of extra funds available, add a little bit more to that reserve fund so that we can grow that, because as Kim said, it could be, law enforcement, it could be animal control, it could be, some additional fire costs. So it's important to make sure we've got appropriate reserve for all 3 of those services.
Which you will see in these pages that there is some money going into capital reserve fund again, and there's just a portion going back into public safety reserve fund. But that's later on down the pages.
And I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not saying we should not save. Did anybody think I'm saying we should not save for long? I just want to be sure. I don't want nobody leaving here saying, Frank, I don't want to save no money for it. Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're
Where I'm
talking
coming from?
yeah,
Okay, because I don't want my words twisted. If you have any issues with what I said, please ask me before you leave here talking crazy.
if I was in the army, I don't do that behind people's back.
People do. All right, next.
Next. Y'all want to go through this next public works and then call it for the night, because it's only a page and a half. If it ain't even half a page, it's really just a page.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, it
sounds good.
matches to what we've already had a chance to
Okay,
look at,
gotcha,
so it'd be a
yeah,
good,
because
clean break.
Planning and zoning, we're
Yeah.
looking at next, you're right.
Okay, so public works supplies, $1,000. Let's see.
I know it's only $1,000, but, $1,000 here and there starts adding up, and the max we've spent is $105.
Is any of that gonna cut into what they did here at the intersection?
They did it.
What they're gonna do at the DOT is gonna do?
They're covering the
They're covering all that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not any local funds. Yes, could we look at that? Yes. I think one thing just to be wary of in future years, I believe with Covered Bridge Road, with that project, the town's gonna be, taking on the ownership and maintenance of that sidewalk, I believe. And so even though we haven't spent it in years past, moving forward, I see that probably increasing.
Which
This
we
is-
do have that.
This is
Right,
for
okay.
supplies.
Gotcha,
We do
gotcha.
have that for
Okay, so-
number 5 there.
Gotcha, yeah.
I'd have to go back and look and see what it may be just some tools that were purchased. That's very.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we can cut it
Maybe
to
cut
500.
it, cut it in
500.
half.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the street lights, that's just for the center of town right here as far as Archer Lodge Road and Buffalo Road right here.
Yeah.
I believe there's about 20
I'd have
lights?
to look at that deal.
22, something like that, 20-some lights, I believe. And some on Buffalo right here, did you say? Or
No,
Window
they're
Road?
that curve.
Around the curve, Window Road,
Yes.
Window Road.
And there's some in that curve. There's
But-
streetlights right
Yeah,
there.
but
Anyway, it's for the streetlights throughout town that we pay for.
but it's not, there may be some streetlights in neighborhoods, that doesn't come into here. It's just the small central area. Then contract services.
That's in case we ever have to pay for something with our neighbors.
Yeah, I was curious because it's Town of Clayton agreement for question. So
If we have to reach out to them and they do start charging us,
so this is like for the light.
For the
The
lights
lights.
and stuff like that.
it would be something that they have that we wouldn't have, an electrical department or.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'd have to go back and see how much, where that money was
The
spent.
water would be
In
handled. by the
2022, there's almost 15,000. I don't know what that was. And then the sidewalks, like I said, we did increase that, just to be ready to start taking on more sidewalk maintenance.
Since that hasn't even been constructed, we're not going to need maintenance on a sidewalk within a year.
Do we have any other sidewalks?
Just what's out here.
Right.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
$1,000 isn't gonna, is not much. So if we did have to do something out here, $1,000 is just gonna be one section of sidewalk. It's,
Well, we really shouldn't, well, unless some sort of an accident happens, but, because that's still relatively new out there too.
Yeah, and really it's more of tree roots that pop up the different
And that's
panels.
years down the
Yeah.
road. That's years down the
Yeah.
road.
I mean, it just seems excessive to me.
Or not necessary this year.
Yeah.
cut it to 2.
I would just cut it to 1 for right now. If we need to change it, we can change it later.
Yeah, we
Everybody
could do an
agrees with that?
amendment. Yeah, we
We'll
could do
have
an
the
amendment.
responsibility to cover bridge now, when they do that widening, I don't know when it's starting.
Mm-hmm.
It's been starting since I got here.
Starting in the fall,
Okay,
so.
Yeah.
so there'll be that set of sidewalks other than just this right
Yeah.
here. So hopefully it'll be brand new and it'll be new.
I said 1,000. I agree with Mike.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, we hear you. Roadsides, banners,
For town signs.
town signs.
What's that?
Or the town Archer Lodge sign, town Archer Lodge signs, we're responsible for.
Are those on the light poles or the street
The one that
signs?
says town of Archer Lodge city limits.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Oh, that DOT green,
We're gonna have to replace any of those this year?
Well, we have some.
We have some that's in that barn.
We've got a lot of, and that was part of one of the things that we're looking at with DOT and with the speed limits is not only the town signs, there are a number of places where we don't have the town signs
Mhm.
that we and I didn't realize we had some there, but, also, one of the things they talked about was, you know, the sign where it said 35 mile per hour speed limit. It's been, you know, because the state law is 35 unless, in town limits
Otherwise
unless
posted.
otherwise posted. They're very, I don't even know, I think we may have one or two spots that have that sign, but that needs to be put out there, so, I don't know what those run, but, you know, we need some of those as well. So, you know, Jason is working with Jason Grantham at DOT. I think they'll probably be coming back in June timeframe, so we do anticipate some additional costs next year.
Okay.
And then y'all do see the additional radar sign here, like the one we got that's now on, Castleberry out there near the town park. Which you probably saw the shipping for it was on the admin shipping. It was an extra shipping net, because if we get it, and it'd be just like this one here, we got the quote, identical to that one.
Well,
And we learned this week,
go ahead.
no, you can hit.
No,
Okay.
no, Ben did the work on it, so Ben.
Let me do it.
I want to add today.
Yeah.
So, a part of these units is, you, of course, see if you're going too fast, just slow down. But there's more to it. It tracks how many cars are coming through. It tracks who was speeding, or not who was speeding, but how many cars were speeding, what specific time frames were people speeding, and it stores it for a month. We haven't really utilized that in the past. However, you know, we would like to, both to give that to the sheriff's office, highway patrol, so that way they can see we're really having a speeding issue on Castleberry. We'll put an extra car out there. Anyways, I've been working with the company, and come to find out, the SD card and the internal unit that records stores it. It's getting late. Is not working. It's about a 7-year-old unit, and so it kind of makes sense. And so I talked to them, and we can keep it, and it'll just keep doing the speed limit thing. We won't get any data, or we can do what they call a refresh, and we send it to them, and in about 6 to 8 weeks they send it back, and basically they replace all of the internals, the computer boards, SD cards, all of that. Do you remember the total?
I think it was about $1,300 or $1,700, wasn't it?
Hold on, I've got it in my notes app because I was on the phone with them.
But
It's
the way-
$12.95.
Yeah.
So it would be an optional thing, but it's something we found out this week.
But the way we found out this week is, you know, we reached out to the State Highway Patrol, and to make a connection there. And the first sergeant that's in charge of Troop C for Johnson County, so this Highway Patrol, they divide them into troops, and it's multiple counties, but then there's a first sergeant that's over the Highway Patrol for all of Johnson County. He was very nice. He came to see us this week, had a very nice gentleman, and, you know, looking for ways to partner. And he mentioned to us that, you know, when we told him that we had one of these units, he said, oh, that's great. We can get that data, and that can help us to know, you know, where we
The time
need
of day.
the time of day, you know, or, you know, where we need to send patrols, schedule them, and maybe even could justify having more patrol officers in this area. So that's certainly beneficial for us. So, you know, appreciate the relationship that we're beginning to develop with them as well.
As well as he told us about, JCC does their radar training, in Flowers, and he said that we.
And so I've
currently
already,
reach out.
I've already reached out to Johnson County Community College to try to set up a relationship with them so that they, you know, they don't do enforcement per se, but they do their radar training on South
Murphy.
Murphy,
Yep.
thank you. And
There's-
right after the town limits. And, I mean, you go by there, I mean, there are multiple law enforcement cars from multiple jurisdictions very often. And, you know, again, they're not enforcing per se, but it's a good deterrent.
It is definitely,
And so-
especially when you see 10 cars along that one road stretch. and like-
So we're certainly hoping to develop that relationship so we can identify some opportunities for them to do that radar training here in town to help deter folks from speeding as well. And also, they're going to be coming out to the state tournament, or the regional tournament, and have some recruitment and some other PR efforts. And I've also submitted a request for them to come out to the Family Fun Day too. So really nice connection this week with the State Highway Patrol.
Is the refurb, that wasn't in the budget, correct?
But it's not in the budget, but it's something that, we could certainly use some of those funds to help do.
Okay.
But I think what we would want to do, Ben and I were talking about that as far as timing, is that, we'd want, before we send that out, it would take 6 to 8 weeks to get it back. So we would want to buy the new one first,
Yeah.
so that because, we're moving these around now, and, people like to see it, and we want to move around. So we wouldn't want 2-3 months where we didn't have a unit.
1,300.
Are we going to do inventory, in reference to the banners and road signs and the welcome signs that may actually reduce this 12 grand? Are we going to check to see how many signs we have already? You all were
Okay.
mentioning we have some.
So, the executive assistants, I have to be some time with that. They keep up with the inventory of our banners. Mosca is the one that has the boom truck, and they actually come and take them down season to season or whatever. So I know, and sometimes when he takes them down, he'll let us know, okay, your original signs or the parchment looking one, you got 2 that's, some have been stolen. You walk by and you see the brackets still in the pole, but there's no banner, that somebody's got it up there and cut them off and they're gone too. So we're not increasing, right now it's at 7,400, where we at currently. They will not come back again until the fall. So that figure right there, is basically for what they've done so far this year.
But we've also talked about,
But we gotta get more
the town
banners.
limit, well, not only the banners, but town limit signs.
The town limit signs too, but there's also got to be some park banners across the street to match the main section of the town park. I don't know if you know that there's banners out there, but they're on every pole. So there's only gonna be, how many light poles across the street? 4, 6, I don't know, anyway. There's got to be some put up there as well, to match the other side of the road.
So.
But it
I
sounds like
think-
we
I
gotta
think-
pay this refurbished that I just learned about.
I'd like-
$1,300.
There are a number of things that could potentially come out of this. I would like to keep it where it is for now.
Oh, yeah, it's got welcome sign too, which we talked about doing. Okay, down one more.
So that, let's see, what else? So that, and then 3,000 for pole change out, is that what it is on 26?
It says additional.
No, it's additional streetlights. Duke Energy, if we have them add some more throughout town, they will charge us to install them. And then, of course, we will actually pay for the electricity and the lighting of that. So that's if we're wanting them to add some, which this has probably been, I don't know, 5 years ago, with Brian. So that Duke Energy came and him and Mike wrote out to look at locations throughout town where we could add some additional streetlights, but that has not panned out yet. So
I
that
don't-
is in here in case that were to come. We do get requests about streetlights, but most of the time they come in and it's for actual neighborhood, which we don't.
Were
We
there
don't
any,
do that.
were there any, so Mike did analysis, is that,
Him and the Duke guy,
so,
whatever you want to call it.
so we have that? record?
I'm telling you, it's probably 5 years ago. So they've replaced poles and they've moved a bunch of stuff on Covered Bridge Road now. So due to that widening, it needs to be done again, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't see a need to add more light poles.
Yeah, I don't really want to add any more right now. If we need to replace some, can we find some money somewhere else? Or would it come out of this?
If we need to replace them, we'd have to pay.
Current ones?
We would have to pay due, probably,
So it would come out of this, Kim?
I guess.
Yeah.
We'd have to
But
do that,
aren't
yeah.
they on their distribution lines? Or are they separate poles entirely?
I'd have to look at the bill.
I'd say we just strike it for right now,
Strike it.
and we'll find the money if we have to replace current ones.
So does that bring us to a stopping point for now?
Sounds good.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. It's been very helpful, council. We appreciate your input, and cooperation and insight. It's a group project, and we appreciate your assistance.
I appreciate y'all getting extra information to us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for
And
all the
if
numbers
it's
and
not
the
been-
reports.
Thanks to,
And if it's not clear, for me, and for one, Frankie, you're a great person. I hadn't said anything negative about you, other than I think you went to some other college other than NC State, but at some point. But me personally, and I don't think I'm the only one, we would like to see a tax rate decrease.
I definitely want to
Yes.
see it decreased.
And the how much would be as much as we can.
That is a priority.
that is understood.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, we don't have to?
Well, if you need one, you got it.
Yeah,
And
so
a
you got
second.
one.
You got one on the table, so you might as well go.
And I think you got a lady out front that says you need to adjourn sometime soon too.
Yeah, I thought the thing said 8:30.
Oh, has she been out there for a
She's
while?
probably been out there for a while.
You need some backup?
We're adjourned.
So
We're adjourned.
are you voting or are you adjourning this chair?
We adjourn?
We adjourned.
All right.
We'll do it.